What up, fuck squad? It's your girl Praxis Descends, here to deliver you another slew of vile insults and more vile insults. Hands up who wants to be insulted vilely. Anyway, Mike's a dick boy butt. That's his official name across these quadrants. Model Railway Man, next time I will aim for one word. Next time I shall be swearing from time in. Aside from that, welcome back, Gango. It's great to see you here for episode 3 of episode 7 of Star Trek Iskandar, Down the Rabbit Hole. I know it's like issue or part. We need a nomenclature for that I can remember off the top of my head. Currently, it's not that. Let me have a sip of my Coke and I'll be right back with you. I see that we've dropped 2 viewers since I started swearing. Well, fuck you and fuck anyone else that says that I can't swear on this stream because I
can't swear on this channel, Izzy. You can't swear on this channel, Izzy.
I can swear anywhere I like in this channel, Roomba. Fuck you too.
Hey!
Anyway, so for those of you who have not been on the show before, I apologize for the aggression of my tone, not for the content of it. It's lovely to have you here. It's lovely to see you here, even though I obviously cannot see you. I meant that in an entirely parasocial way. But I can imagine being seen. Aside from that, these are even the continuing adventures of the USS Iskandar, which is a stream of a proprietary Star Trek nature run by the 4 of us that you see on screen before you. The 4 of us also form the crew of the USS Iskandar, me being Izzy, Mike, Emily, and Kath. I decided me was being used in the plural there. It's the royal me. It's a different thing. You don't have to worry about it. Only I have to worry about it. Aside from that, today we are being GM'd by the lovely Emily, who has GM'd the last 2 episodes of Star Trek Iskandar, Down the Rabbit Hole, which has been quite a parade of dramatic
bullshit.
I think a combination of scientific bullshit and regular bullshit. So excitement for everyone.
What did you expect from me GMing?
0. We expected 0 more than 2 different types of bullshit. I expected more types of bullshit, to be honest, and I look forward to finding out what they are. If you've missed the last 2 episodes, well, that's a choice you've made, but also welcome. I'm sure if you have any questions about what the hell is going on, they can either be answered in the chat or answered by no one. So either way, you can angst together about stuff that you don't know. If you have been so far enjoying the adventures of the Star Trek Iskandar, don't forget that this Sunday there is to be a special one-shot adventure of Star Trek Iskandar. Title will be released at the end of the episode when I've thought of it. But it will be separate from the plot so far. You will not need to know about the plot, nor indeed much about the world of Star Trek to understand. It will feature some familiar faces and potentially some unfamiliar faces, depending if you know them. If you know them, I guess their face would be very familiar, but maybe not in the context of Star Trek Iskandar. Anyway, I'm going to hand over to Emily Room now, who's going to take us off into the loving, warm embrace of the stars, where nothing bad ever happens and nothing happens ever bad.
What? Okay, I think I've left that awkward silence just long enough. So, welcome, chat. Welcome, everybody who's watching, to part 3 of episode 7.
Bye, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
Get the fuck out, Mike.
So, last session, the crew of the USS Iskandar made their way into the mysterious gravitational anomaly, the strange space bubble that they had before them in search of the missing ship, the USS Kruskal. Inside, sure enough, they have found the USS Kruskal and its crew, who, as far as they're concerned, have only been inside this weird anomaly for about 2 weeks. But in the outside world, it has been 80 years. The crew took a little bit of persuading, especially their captain, to believe that this was the case. And now the crew of the Iskandar are helping the crew of the Kruskal work out how they can get out of this space bubble and what happened to get them in there in the first place. So we will pick up pretty much exactly where we left off last episode with Lieutenant Vance and Lieutenant Commander Eve Graham, security officer of the Kruskal, who have just pulled up an image of the other ship that the Kruskal saw before they ended up in the space bubble. A ship that goes by the name of the ISS Amundsen? Who knows? This lot don't know, I see. So, we will pick up, still looking at the image of the ISS Amundsen. Take it away, Kath.
ISS. Let's take a closer look at the sense telemetry. Maybe this is some sort of mistake.
Yeah, it did seem a bit weird to us that it was ISS rather than USS.
Error around the paintwork, maybe taking some external damage. Let's take
Perhaps let's have a. I'll have a look.
I know what the standard output should be of an Intrepid class, enough to
Okay.
figure something out. Yeah, so Vance is going to check over the sensor telemetry, and because it's his particular area of expertise, he'll be examining the weapon systems, because he reckons that that's the best chance for him to identify a difference of what the fuck is going on with this ISS crap.
Okay. Make me an ops check. And I'm not going to apply any penalties here because any unfamiliarity with the ship systems, Eve Graham can help you out with that.
That is a 2.
Okay. Yeah, so you can have a closer look at the ISS Amundsen and compare it to what you know of an Intrepid class. For the most part, looks pretty much the same. There doesn't seem to be any indication of damage around the differences in the paintwork. That appears to be exactly how it was put on there in the first place. But you have a look at the weapon system. It's, again, for the most part, similar to what you'd expect from an Intrepid class, but it's a little bit more tooled up. Those phasers, from a cursory glance, obviously you can't get full details because Kruskal only got a very brief glimpse of this Amundsen. But you'd anticipate that they are a fair bit more powerful than the phasers that the Iskandar is fitted with.
That's strange. One, they seem to have far power output to their phaser strips, and also you can see they've got an additional phaser strip here. That should be where one of our sensor arrays is. The Intrepid's an exploratory vessel. She's a nippy little science ship. This one's loaded for bear. She's still out there, or have you lost her on sensors?
Disappeared as soon as that light came up. See, we had, and she flicks back to the small, bright blue light. We had that, the ship, and then she goes to the next image of the blindingly bright light. And then nothing.
Oh, don't be some more kind of temporal bullshit. Well, if nothing else, we'll see what the Iskandar can make of it. They may be able to pick up something that your senses can't.
Yeah, and there might be something on your records that isn't on ours. I mean, we're obviously missing
80 years.
Yeah.
Thanks to Iskandar. Oh shit.
You brought this on yourself.
Thon here. Go ahead, Lieutenant. Yeah, Captain, we've identified what some of the trouble was. It seems that the miscommunication may have occurred because the Kruskal encountered another Intrepid class, which they mistook for us. But I've just been drawing up the sensor records here, and she doesn't match. The name's Amundsen, but don't match anything that I know about the USS Amundsen. I'm going to transmit the sensor telemetry and images we got to you, so if you can figure out why there's a ship running around called ISS Amundsen. By all means, Lieutenant, pass it over and we'll run a quick analysis, especially if there's a possibility that such a ship is still in the vicinity. Understood. Patch through as quick as I can. And if you keep me posted, I'm sure we'll all be mighty appreciative. Vance out. All right, let's transmit this over.
Yep, you can do so. It's taking a while for a variety of reasons, but it does seem to transmit. And you can confirm with the Iskandar that yes, they have received everything.
All right. In that case, I imagine that we're mostly going to be dependent upon whether or not the engineers can figure out if this ship's towable
Yeah.
or not. If not, is there one location where we can easily get everybody aboard into? Like, will the cargo bay be big enough for everyone? Because just to make a mass transport easier.
Oh, the cargo bay would probably hold everybody. Yeah.
That's probably how, if not to make maybe the shuttle bay. But just so long as we can make sure we got a space, I assume it'll be easy to do a mass transport under such conditions.
Yeah. Assuming the transporters work.
Well, if they don't, it's going to be a lot of shuttle trips. A lot of shuttle trips.
Yeah, let's hope the transporters work anyway.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, what are engineers for?
They want to be called miracle workers. They can earn their keep.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I don't think Vance has anything else to
Yeah.
get up with for the immediate.
Cool. We will then go to... I'm trying to remember where everybody was at the end of last session. So we had Casey off with Shatarev to go, and with the small squad of NPC engineers from the Iskandar going off and seeing how structurally fucked the Kruskal is.
Yes.
We had Zal and Talandra also going looking for Shtarev. If I remember rightly. I think that's where everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we will go to Science Boy and the engineers.
And Burroughs in sickbay.
And Burroughs in sickbay having the time of their lives. But in fact, we'll briefly look in on sickbay and see Dr. Burrow in just as a quick check-in on them, that they're in the Kruskal sickbay since Dr. Sitak isn't there with them. People have kind of started deferring to them, really, because they appear to be the most senior medical officer in the room.
I mean, yeah.
And also because Burov has come in as this ball of energy and enthusiasm. They've just taken over and suddenly everything's just running smoothly.
It's amazing how they have that effect on people. I imagine that just the clip we see of Burov is them like operating at like absolute maximum million miles a second, you know, where you're kind of envious, but you also think, oh, you're going in for a wicked energy crash later.
Oh yeah, they have gone full Burov in sickbay.
Never go full Burov.
Too late. Arcady has gone full Burov. So we pan back out of sickbay to Science Boy and the engineers.
Ba, ba,
Sounds like
ba.
a band name.
It does. That's why I phrased
We
it.
are Science Boy and the engineers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. We mostly have tricorders and are assessing damage.
Yeah, so Shadarov has taken you kind of towards the rear of the ship, which is where the worst of the damage is, on the basis of if the worst of the damage is too much for this to fly, then there's no point doing further analysis and trying to look at the details if on a kind of global level this ain't gonna work.
Yep.
What she will probably do, because she was in the middle of something, is once you get to the back, which is where most of the Kruskal's engineers are, or at least what they've got left of their engineers, she's going to leave you with them and go back to what she was doing. So, right, so worst of the damage is back here.
Mm-hmm.
You probably saw from the outside that, well, up that way, up that corridor, you can see one that is sealed off, and despite it being sealed off, there is still smoke and sparks slightly coming through from that section of the corridor, kind of on your left. Up that way, what would have been one of our warp cores. It isn't.
A full jettison, I imagine.
Full jettison, and only just in time. That one we managed to keep.
That's okay.
But sure, I don't think she's ever going to run again, that one.
That, for now, that's not the priority. Your own propulsion isn't the main issue. So
the issue is this structurally sound enough? But Backer is where to took the brunt of the explosion. And so here will be your weakest points. But speaking of weak points, I need to get back to getting that circuit back up and running. So I'm going to leave you a lot here. And I'm going to go back to you fixing that air filtration circuit. Because we kind of need that.
Okay. Thank you for bringing us down here.
See what you can do. And she'll walk back up towards the end of the corridor that she was in before, leaving you in the middle of what almost looks like wreckage, except it's just about held together. Like the whole way while you've been walking down this corridor, you've had the dim lights because everything is running on emergency power. But back here, the lighting is dim and flickering slightly, occasionally. And that's kind of stale smell that the air has had the whole time you've been on the Kruskal, because of everything, the recirculation of the air not being quite as good as it would be if the ship were running at full capacity. Again, you've kind of stopped noticing it earlier, but now you're reminded of it again because you've got slightly staler air and the smell of smoke and burnt electronics in the air that you'd have expected to have gone away by now. But it lingers.
I will, I'll give the unnamed engineer squad the primary cast member.
One of them's got a name. You've got Kingston.
Oh, Kingston, yay. Still, it's the primary cast member interacts with extras, nod, of which they don't have scripted lines because you need to pay actors more if they speak.
Hey, Kingston's named. Kingston can have lines. You can talk to Kingston if you want.
Okay, that I say, let's begin scanning.
Yep.
Good work. You got your paycheck.
That worth it? Was that worth the extra money in our budget? Yeah.
Yes,
we got to fire this actor.
Finished his line.
We'll just replace him in the next episode. It's fine. No one will notice.
Yep. So, Sam Case's actor interrupts Kingston as he's saying this.
Shoves him to the ground. No, it's time to whittle some wheeze.
It is time to whittle some wheeze for me. So, make me, because PCs do things, not NPCs. So, make me an engineering check.
It's not bad, he says, looking at his bonus. But then
You could have got assistance from Kingston if you treated him like a person.
But you didn't, so he's not going to do dick to help you.
I'm one of the greatest minds of my generation,
Uh-huh.
I got a +5, and then I got a -5. But my engineering is +4, so
So it's
I'm
plus
still
4
great.
overall.
Yeah.
You're still great. Go Samuel Casey.
Go
Who
me.
needs real engineers?
I'm my own boyfriend now.
So what's changed?
Oh. Oh.
The real twist is that Sam was imagining Adam all along.
Yeah,
Ironically.
There's never been an Adam Strange on this ship.
It sounds like a fake name. How did you not figure it
The
out?
name is Adam Strange.
Anyway, moving past the plot spoilers for the end of this episode. Yeah, so you go about your scanning. You have, there are settings on the tricorder that can examine the hull and various kind of columns and structurally integral walls of the ship, and kind of can scan the metal for damage internally, looking for microfractures and shock stress. Shock stresses in the metal from an explosion, which is what you'd expect to find there. And oh boy, do you find them! It's bad. It is bad at this end of the ship. It's not so bad that you think taking the ship anywhere near the outer edge of the bubble of micro black holes is going to cause it to just crumple like a paper bag. But if you want this ship to fly, you're going to need to do some work or find a way of making sure that nobody is anywhere near this back half of the ship.
If only they had a saucer section.
Oh, they've got a saucer section. It looks like an old
We
concept.
can't do it because James might see, and then
A, James might see. A B, yes, there is a saucer section. Yes, you could separate it. That's a one-time only thing, and it ain't getting put back.
I think at this point it's time to start assessing, like, how easy is this to kind of reinforce? How long will it take? Because ultimately the decision won't be mine, and I need to go to my superiors with kind of work estimates.
Options.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need options rather than just going, well, it's fucked. You need to present them with options for solutions. So you can start doing that. Oh, well, no, you can make an estimate of how much work it would need to reinforce this end of the ship where the damage is the worst. You'd need to go and get some. You'd probably need to go and get some materials from the Iskandar, from the Iskandar's replicators, because the Kruskal doesn't have the capacity to produce the kind of resources you'd need to reinforce the hull here.
Mm-hmm.
The actual work itself would be fairly simple, in that it would be the equivalent of getting a bunch of space-worthy sheet metal and bolting it onto the walls. It's sticking massive metal plasters on it, because this only has to fly once. But you would need to go to the Iskandar, bring over those kind of materials, and do the work. And you haven't yet seen how extensive this level of damage is. So the area you've seen so far, about an hour, but that includes time to go and get resources.
Okay. Who sent me here? Who am I reporting to? Probably Talandra, right?
Yeah, I'd say Talandra.
I think at this point it's worth kind of chiming into Talandra to fill in with that information. So I'll do the whole com badge touch. Casey to Talandra.
Talandra here, go ahead.
Initial estimates on the damage done at the rear end of the ship are more or less complete. I anticipate, in its current state, it would not fly well. Reinforcing the interior hull, I think, would take about an hour, but we'll need use of the Iskandar's replicators in order to make full reinforcements possible. I'm still considering other options.
It might be a time to test whether we can actually what's the word? Teleport. But transport. If we can actually use the transporters between the two ships. Keep me posted, Ensign. I shall be in touch with the captain.
Very well. Thank you, Talandra. Commander. He says commander. There's no fucking way he says...
I literally felt that in my soul. I was like, you did not just first name me.
At least he didn't call you Mum.
Thanks, Mum. And then
Mum would have been
tears off
better.
the comm badge.
Actually, yeah, Mum would have been better than just flat out first name. Mum is at least almost a title.
I have a very serious question. Has Casey ever accidentally called Talandra Mum before?
Yes. Why not? We'll write fic about it and we'll make it available to patrons.
Okay.
I could just see it happening at like a morning science briefing.
If you are a patron, chime off in the comments. Who else do you want to see embarrassed in crew written fic?
I'm sure it's always
Yeah,
Casey.
the answer's all of us.
Like, I'm just saying, who else? Assuming Casey is absolutely top of the list.
Yeah, please
Would you
write
like to
in
see
what
Casey-
order you'd like us to be.
No, would you like to? So we're going to write Casey in an embarrassing situation with Talandra. Who else do you want to see Casey be embarrassed in front of? The top 3 will get. Go vote on Patreon. We'll write the top 3.
We're embarrassing him in front of his boyfriend again.
Me and Mike have nothing better to do with our time.
No.
What was I saying? Yeah. So he goes and she'll communicate with the captain, and I assume we're still having the same like 15-second lag. Like,
Yeah, it's not quite as much as 15. No, it is probably still about 15 seconds actually. Yeah.
I remember it was long enough that we couldn't fizz wrap it without wanting to die.
Yeah.
But I believe the gist is it's not for good, short, sharp back and forths so much as say everything you need to do in one big blur.
It was enough that they immediately fell into doing overs like they were fucking
Yeah.
from the 21st century.
Yeah, it's enough that I can't be asked making you fizz wrap it because it'll be really boring making folk wait. So yes.
So yeah, Talandra will relay all of that to Athan and prepare for instructions. Over.
Yeah, Athan is going to want sorry, I can't lie. I wasn't fully paying attention during the technical descriptions. What?
Okay.
You were really trying. Athan's gonna. Come on, Athan.
This is a transporter situation, and then I was like, actually, I can't remember what the alternative is.
So to recap, the options that Casey has thus far are for the bits of the ship that he's seen. He reckons it's about an hour to fix the damage, but he will have to come back to the Iskandar, replicate some material, and take it back across so that he can then, with the aid of some engineers, bolt it to the walls and see if that makes it work. Or the alternative option is, can the transporters be made to work such that everybody can be
on their end to work for the most efficient?
You could do it either way.
Okay.
You could either grab them from the Iskandar, or you could send them from the Kruskal.
Okay.
You don't know which one's more efficient.
Sorry, I couldn't guess it.
Very well then, Commander. If you begin to liaise with Chief Linkovich in attempting to conduct some experiments for the transporter systems and attempt to get that up and running. Meanwhile, Ensign Casey can proceed with some of the repair work, and we will pursue whichever avenue shows merit fastest.
Yes, Captain. Should I instruct Ensign Casey to liaise directly with the transporter office?
Yes, if nothing else, his options on repair work may go better if we can factor in any needs for the transport systems. I'm not going to suggest we spend too much time trying to repair the Kruskal's transport systems. I think that's an unnecessary investment.
Quite.
We can do more work from the Iskandar trying to boost our own transport capacity.
Is all well on the Iskandar, Captain?
It is. Have you spoken with Lieutenant Vance?
Not recently.
No, he updated me shortly. We're still looking into some of these matters, but he found an identification of the other ship that it's a very inconclusive identification. It doesn't seem to mean anything, but the other ship, which they mistook for us, was apparently an ISS Amundsen. I'm going to check our computer records to identify this much more heavily armed Intrepid class.
Intrepid class, Captain?
Apparently, it seems to broadly match unmodified Intrepid class.
Oh. Given the information I had received, Captain, it would seem that given that we are in some sort of time bubble, I would have assumed it was a ship attached to Earth's 20th or 21st century.
Apparently not.
That is the only use of that abbreviation that I know attached to a Federation vessel, International Space Station, I believe.
I'd have to take your word for it, Commander. I'm going to check our records. Nothing immediately came up, of course, but I will have to consult any further historical documentation.
Should we attempt to make contact with the vessel, Captain?
If I can find it. I'll be pursuing this from the bridge. If they may be gone, but I'll pursue this from the bridge. Focus your efforts on the Kruskal and the transporter systems.
Yes, Captain.
Very good. Keep me posted if I find out.
It's like Talandra's going to look off to the side in a gently perplexed fashion.
Zal will pipe in because Zal's here also.
Yeah, Zal and Zetak are both here.
Horace, when did you get here?
ISS.
Curious.
Time does seem to flow interestingly here. It may be something from our past, potentially future.
Perhaps. Very curious.
And for it to be the Amundsen, which is a vessel I vaguely know, it is not simply another nation or some old classification that we have long since stopped using.
It is certainly not a classification that any of us on board the Kruskal recognized.
No. There is IKS, but it was not a Klingon vessel by all account.
No, it very much resembled your own ship.
Yes, the Intrepid class. Interesting. Perhaps I should find Lieutenant Vance and find out the full story. And she's gonna walk off.
I follow.
Because of
okay.
Well, with Stark, if you want, because of ease of communication, I'm just gonna say she passes on the message to Casey because I'm not playing a game of telephone about
No, don't
do the thing. Captain says you can do the thing. Casey says he'll do the thing.
Yep, he'll begin that.
Do you
I
tell him
didn't
about
say
the
you could.
Do you tell him about the ISS bits as well?
No.
No, I
Just
don't
the
need to
bit
know
that-
No,
that.
just the bits that he needs to know about. Cool. Just checking who knows what.
Everyone now knows ISS bar Casey.
And Burrow.
Everybody.
And Burrow.
Oh yeah, Burrow doesn't know either.
The wee
And
blues.
Adam Strange.
Oh yeah, Strange knows absolutely nothing about
But
what's
Cantos
happened.
does know.
Yeah, Cantos is on the bridge. They know all about this stuff. Right. So, who to follow next? I think follow Vance, Zal, and Talandra.
Talandra kicks in the door to the bridge and goes, Vance, tell me what you know, motherfucker!
Oh shit, son!
I train phaser on him.
Well, this took a turn. Roll initiative.
Oh, remember, was I not supposed to do that now?
Yeah, that message was supposed to be you do that in the second half of the episode.
Oh, it turns out
I can roll with it
Talandra
now.
was
I can roll with it
evil
now. It's
all along.
fine.
Yeah, with the ISS. Us.
Talandra's always been the ISS us.
She pulls off her not beard, revealing the beard.
What?
And now she's played by Jason Isaacs.
Would that she were. God, that man.
Izzy, focus!
You know what? I didn't bring him up.
No, I did.
Can she be played
And
though?
I'm not sorry.
Can she be played though by Jason Isaacs playing General Zhukov?
Oh,
Commander.
hell yes.
Commander.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was somewhere else briefly. Let's say we cut back in to Talandra talking with
for
Vance
God Elrod.
and having received the basic
Advantage.
rundown.
Yeah, so unless the captain comes back with anything,
And you are certain that the vessel looked like an Intrepid class?
you can see for the sensor range, itself, it has the same hull configuration as an Intrepid class. It has broadly the same readings. It has a higher power output, as you can see from the weapon systems.
And increased weapon systems and decreased science and scanning.
Yeah.
The deflector array is not as advanced as ours.
And you can see ISS stenciled on that, and I'm assuming there's the symbol as well.
Yeah, there is.
There's this see, it's a bit blurry, which is unhelpful, but there does appear to be a distinctive symbol, some sort of circle with something going through it. It's not a Federation symbol. It's not any kind of symbol that I recognize.
Which means we must think reasonably. We are in an anomalous region of space.
Uh-huh.
It is possible that, given that we are in some sort of alternate ipseity, that we have been potentially, we are seeing a ship that is up to 80 years in our future.
Yeah, that was
But
my thinking.
that does not account for the obviously lacking areas in deflector technology, and I believe the nacelles do not look more advanced, merely different. The power output is broadly speaking the same, just modified.
Yeah, it's if you try to convert an Intrepid class into something with more punchy, like a Defiant, you'd have to strip out these kind of systems. If I wanted to put an Intrepid on a war footing, I would do something similar to this.
Which would explain the output, but not the change in title and symbol.
My thinking would be along the lines of either this has been a ship that has fallen into private hands, favorably or unfavorably. It's the only thing that really makes sense.
I think someone carting around an Intrepid class and who's strapped a whole bunch of guns onto it is not exactly a favorable notion. But also, we don't lose an Intrepid class.
The only people that I think of that would be
Except for that time we did.
inclined to do something like that, the Ferengi, maybe?
Then what ISS?
Doesn't necessarily mean... Given where we are, it could be that the vessel is from the past or the future. But given the current skill level, if we accept that this vessel is in some way altered and in other ways not, it could easily be from perhaps an alternate version of where we are from. Either that it has slipped through some wormhole, perhaps a different part of the universe or galaxy.
I suppose.
Given where we are, it is as possible as, say, a rogue Ferengi who took an Intrepid class without our knowing, without declaring the Amundsen as some stolen vessel, I can guarantee that if there had been some ship that were taken by another power, it would have been declared on a watch list for us to keep an eye on as soon as it had gone missing.
And the Amundsen should be in this sector.
Yes.
Like we'd have known. This would take time to alter, to modify. We're talking weeks.
And would take expertise. None of this, if you look, none of these repairs look hasty. None of these repairs look as if they were done by inexpert hands, which means we must either accept that this vessel was taken and modified by expert Starfleet engineers in a dedicated starbase in a rapid period of time without anybody in Starfleet being alerted, or that this vessel has come from somewhere else. When we have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. This vessel is not the vessel we expect it to be. Ergo, it is a different Amundsen.
Sure, but until she shows up on census again, there's not much we can do about it.
Well, communicating with it has fallen into the hands of the Iskandar, so we will keep an eye out for it, but there is little else we can do. We will rely on the Iskandar's much improved deflector system to communicate with this mysterious vessel and hope that we can learn something useful from them.
Yeah, Captain mostly just left this in our hand, in her hands, and left the Kruskal in our hands. There's not much we can do about it from here.
Although, it does occur to me as potentially troubling that when we arrived, the crew of the Kruskal believed that we, as we now know to be the Amundsen, had fired on them. What would incline a vessel, Starfleet or otherwise, to fire on the Kruskal?
Either violent intention or a misunderstanding.
Either way, we should prepare ourselves for the eventuality that there is another misunderstanding of this sort.
Oh yeah, I don't think these people who... Something started this and something's messed up the Kruskal this badly. I'm pretty sure that we're on a cautious footing.
Hmm.
Is there anything else for us to get on with just yet, Commander?
If you are at a loss, then I believe assisting Ensign Casey with the repairs is the next available task.
Very well.
Or, if anyone is so inclined, I believe sickbay requires assistance.
I'm sure I can help lug some things around. At the very least, whole structural integrity is something in which I'm not exactly the complete average layperson.
Quite. I believe I shall go and check with the ensign. And I have designs on speaking with the chief engineer.
Which one was the Andorian on in
The
staff?
engineer.
The engineer.
The engineer.
I'll come with you, Commander.
Excellent.
Okay, so Zal and Salandra are going back off to go and find Commander Shaterev.
Mhm.
Vance, what are you doing? Just so I can keep track of where everybody is on this ship.
Vance is just going to make himself generally useful. He can apply. He is still, a Starfleet officer, a Starfleet tactical officer. He can apply minor assistance to engineering work, especially considering this is a reinforcement jobby. If we're going to do it, that doesn't take being a rocket scientist.
But it's a rocket, sort of.
Metal plating on a rocket right now.
Okay, so Zal and Talandra, you can go back down the corridor that you are heading down with Sitak. Sitak has gone back to sickbay. He's got stuff to do. And
I already assumed he kind of had, but
yes, you go back down the corridor and continue on a bit further. Than you'd gone before you pop back up to the bridge. And there is half an Andorian, the other half is in the wall.
oh god!
A common way that our people die.
Oh, the wall!
It's the equivalent of your human's menopause. It's tragedy.
You are aware, Karis, that the human menopause does not split the human woman in half.
Then you're doing it wrong. Menopause is a powerful and honourable death.
I'd like to veto Mike.
Yes, let me just roll a quick. Yeah, Mike, you die.
Oh fuck!
I don't mean Zal dies. I mean you personally.
Menopause is so powerful and honourable death.
Why do I let you lot play my game? So yes, you see, the two halves of the Andorian are still together. There is still a whole. You could just only see her bottom half.
Oh, I get it now.
No menopause today.
Yes. She has not succumbed to the noble tradition of Andorian wall menopause.
I might have done.
Yes, I think Izzy, just don't touch any walls for now, and you'll be all right.
Oh.
Yes, she doesn't seem to have noticed you. She's far too busy.
Talandra will spend a moment waiting respectfully on the grounds that she doesn't want to go, oi, you person, and then they drop something important, because engineers are always busy.
Mm-hmm. Dol, do you write, or do you just go, oi, you?
I'm
wall lady.
No, I'm the second. I'm the flunky here. Talandra draws the attention, and so I'm winning on that.
Yep.
But I'm kind of like, he's tilting his head, trying to get a bit of a look at what's going on down there.
Yeah. And yeah, she'll probably notice when there's some more movement. Then kind of wiggle her way out of the wall. And you two are...
My name is Lieutenant Commander Talandra. I'm the first officer of the USS Iskandar.
Lieutenant Kruskal, security officer of the USS Iskandar.
Let me just trip full name here. Commander Talos Shtarov. USS Kruskal.
I wonder if we might have a word.
Yeah. Give me a sec. And she'll duck back into the wall and just kind of tie a few things off so that she's not leaving things totally half finished. It comes back out. What do you want to have a word about?
I do not know how much you have already been told by your fellow officers.
Not a huge amount, to be honest.
Very well. I will be brief. You believe that you have been missing from the Federation for approximately 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm given to understand it's, well, a lot longer than that.
Yes. Uh-oh.
A micro black hole passes in front of Talandra's face, and her speech is slowed temporarily. It looks really fucking weird to the two Andorians who are stood in the corridor wondering what the hell's just happened to the Vulcan.
The Vulcan menopause.
We're thanking our stars and spirits that we have not ourselves entered menopause and thus been severed in twain, like many of our ancestors.
quite.
There we go.
There we go. So yeah, Talandra and Borov are now dead.
Okay.
That's a shame. I like them.
Iskandar Bridge?
Yeah, Iskandar Bridge. I'm gonna give Mike a minute to.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
of
you
course,
you go ahead. It won't. I can keep doing that.
Well, no, because
you're
like
okay.
in the time it takes for you to do that, Izzy might come back on. So either you have enough time to make the stream look good, or Izzy has enough time to come back.
That's true.
This is my cunning thinking, because this might be brief, or this might be Vulcan menopause.
Kath, you're actually throwing me off my game.
Okay, I was
could you
trying
go
to be
back to your-
helpful. I just think
There
it's
we
perfect
go.
that the way I'm split has like literally is about as perfect as it could be to miss me out.
Cool. So we will leave before Sheriff Zal and Talandra have their proper chat, and go to the Iskandar Bridge. Athan, you've been given the information that you have about what can be done with the Kruskal and about this mysterious ISS Amundsen that had appeared. What do you get people to do?
Ensign Tarek, I want you to consult our sensor array and especially compare it to the information we've just received from the Kruskal.
Yep.
See if you can locate this ship or any trace of this ship's passing. Be prepared for any subtle differences. If you're anticipating an Intrepid class, there may be something different on our sensors.
Understood, Captain.
Meantime,
He'll start scanning and doing his thing.
In the meantime, Tharn is going to get out her pad and hit the databases, especially up to and including slightly more classified stuff, because if this isn't hitting an immediate Google whack, then this is either this is stolen, a stolen ship as has been discussed, or this is some weird space-time bullshit. Those are realistically the only two options.
Yeah. Okay. Make me a law check.
Fuck yeah, I never get to do that.
Breaking out all the skills that never get used.
That is a +4, so that is an 8.
Bloody hell. You know everything. No, you don't, because some of this shit's still too classified even for you, because some of this stuff's way above captain stuff. But there are some records that you are able to find that reference ISS and terms related to it. Such an Izzy. But yes, you were able to find some things that reference ISS and related terms, mostly in older records. There's some brief mentions of more recent things, but those are more heavily under lock and key. Whereas older records from about a century or so ago, you're able to pick some things up there involving an encounter, particularly that the USS Enterprise had whilst it was captained by James Kirk. That guy.
What is the Terran Empire?
Yes, you can find out that the USS Enterprise and an earlier ship, the USS Discovery, had encounters with a group called the Terran Empire. And that this Terran Empire was found in an alternate universe.
Highly aggressive imperialist or group of human supremacy. And some Tarek, you getting anything on our sensors?
Not a lot, Captain. There does seem to be another signal coming from towards the center of this anomaly.
Yellow alert.
Aye,
I'll be
Captain.
informed if you pick up any further signs of any further vessels. There is a very
Yeah.
high likelihood that any other vessel that we encounter out here should be considered a threat. What's this at the center?
It's difficult to pick up, Captain. We're getting another. It looks like another recorded signal coming out, and something that might be a ship. I'm struggling to keep a lock on it, but I have got a bit of a signal.
Give me what you got. The father of USS Iskandar. Please respond. Unable to establish stable communication. Transmission to go wander off before we've learned. Failure. Classified. However, reported missing. Is that our own beacon?
Hang on, don't say things yet. Now you may speak.
Is that our own beacon?
No, Captain, that is not the message that we sent out.
Said the. What's the signal of a ship that you're picking up?
It's not so much a signal of a ship, Captain. It could be a ship. It could just be a big old lump of metal. But it's something that's, the size of a starship.
Is that just one?
As far as I can tell. But
what's it been doing? How long has this been on our sensors? Do you know?
Let's see. I think it's been there the entire time we've been in here, Captain. And yeah, it all seems to be in the center of the anomaly where it gets denser again.
Is there any likelihood that if a vessel, especially a vessel, use our impulse engines as a reasonable model for extrapolation, what would happen to us if we were that close to the center?
If we were that close to the center, it would be like we were on the outside again. It's a similar kind of distorting field. So the ship wouldn't have any trouble getting through it if it is the same.
Do you believe that there's any potential disruption to their sensor array or their capacity to detect us?
If we're picking them up, they can probably pick us up just as well.
Just as well, but that's not very well.
No.
Are you stuck? Are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Tharn is going to contact Talandra, but shall we let you finish the scene and then Athan can contact once you're at the end of the Talandra scene we interrupted?
That seems like the most sensible way to do things. So this is happening. Meanwhile, traveling back in time a couple of minutes.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, we had other shit that we could do that didn't have. Yeah. Anyway. What have we got to? Fuck.
The Andorian...
Given to understand it's been a bit longer. There we go.
Yes.
Yes. It's been significantly longer.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have been informed.
As I say, that's about all I know, is that we've been here longer than the 2 weeks that has felt like to us?
It has been approximately 80 years.
Damn.
Quite. We are concerned about the effects on the physical bodies of your crew once we take you back through the anomaly into, as it were, a correct timeline. And I believe the effect will be less severe on those members of the crew that are already longer lived. I've spoken to your chief medical officer, and I was encouraged to come and speak with you.
Yeah, that makes sense as well.
It seems that there are particularly few of you aboard the vessel, but I would like you to be available to command certain posts should the rest of the crew be rendered incapable by the transport.
Okay. What did you have in mind?
Currently, there is no firm plan for how best to remove you from this particular time zone. However, our chief science officer is working on something.
Yeah, I just sent him out towards the back end, and I believe our science officer's doing something as well.
Indeed. Nevertheless, like I said, you may be called upon to command your vessel or make decisions should the time arise and should the rest of the crew be rendered incapable. I wanted to check to see that you were up to the task.
I mean, that's a lot to suddenly dump on me as a possibility, but I guess we'll have to make do, won't we?
Indeed.
Do you have any timescales on how soon you're planning on moving us out?
No. But it cannot be too long, given that we do not know how long our tether to actual time will last. We also believe you suffered some violence at the hands of another vessel.
Yeah, not quite so much violence, much as just another ship appeared. There was an explosion. The other ship had gone, and we were left stranded with a pair of smoking wrecks where we should have had warp cores.
Hmm.
And everything else proceeded as per standard. You attempted communication. You did not immediately fire up phasers.
No, we didn't fire phasers at all. All we did was drop out a warp when we saw that there was something weird going on. And then suddenly there was this other ship. They trained weapons on us, but whether that was what exploded or whether there was something else, to be honest, we're not too sure. We've been assuming it was not this other ship caused it, but it's possible it weren't. It was all a bit quick, and then well, I was then a bit busy.
I imagine, yes.
So yeah, that's about all I know as to what happened to us.
Thank you, Lieutenant. We'll be in touch.
Of course. And she'll kind of give Talandra a nod and give Zal more of a nod because, yeah.
I nod back just as deeply.
Talandra doesn't roll her eyes, that's easy.
You got to be racist at the Andorians earlier.
The whole thing has been that the non-Vulcans and Andorians are immediately going to pass out under stress.
As he's walking away, he will quietly say to Talandra, "That went well."
Did you expect it to otherwise? She doesn't know who you are.
No. But it's also been a long time since I've been able to speak so openly with other members of my species.
Well, perhaps if we are lucky, we shall find more Andorians who do not know who you are from 80 years in the past.
What a dream.
How far away are you while you're saying this?
Enough! Leave us alone!
Right in her face.
We're closer to her. We're on either side of her head.
No, what I mean is, like, obviously you're not saying this in earshot.
No,
But are you still visible in the corridor, or have you, like, left the area?
I'd say
left the
visible.
deck?
Like, I imagine the camera's now West Wing style in front of them, and we can see her in the background.
Sheriff in the background. Yeah, so she's gonna be watching as you leave. You can look over your shoulder if you want to see.
He will.
Yeah.
How on earth would I?
Quick as
The
his
little
face.
antennae twitch.
Throws daggers.
She just does this. Yeah, she's kind of studying you almost in a kind of like,
Yeah.
There's something odd about that one. It's kind of what her stance and expressions seem to say as you walk off and leave her to it.
Yep.
As they round the corner, Talandra's going to say, Lieutenant, am I led to believe that any Andorian we meet who does not immediately challenge you to a duel to the death is a positive event in my life?
Certainly a positive event in mine.
Well, one would say so, yes.
I like that. I don't think anything needs to be added to that. That was a good
No.
exchange.
Good exchange.
When the aliens talk, it's very succinct.
Excuse me, I'm an alien. I've never been succinct in my life.
That's true. I apologize.
That's very true.
That's trill erasure.
It is. It is. How dare you, Michael?
Yeah, but the Trillers are people that
Racist.
can't succinct. Say it in one life or get off the pot.
That is succinct for us, yeah.
Anyway. Where to go to next?
Athad does have marching orders.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
He's getting
she's gonna
in
get
touch
with
with-
Talandra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
Someone's going to get in touch with Talandra.
That is going to change some things.
Yes.
Athad to Talandra.
Talandra here, go ahead, over.
I've made progress in my research. There does indeed appear to be the existence of, well, I believe that this ship is from an alternative reality. It is one with which the USS Enterprise and another vessel last century made contact with. It is one where an entity, government referred to as the Terran Empire, a human supremacist, aggressive imperialist power, held dominion over the quadrant. They are reported as being aggressive and expansionist. Whilst 100 years will presumably have passed also from the perspective of our last reports and also for the sake of this vessel, it would seem as if it would not seem out of line with what I am reading to suppose that the ISS Amundsen was indeed an unprovoked aggressor. We've been conducting scans of the immediate area, and we have identified that there is a vessel some distance away at the center of the anomaly. It has been transmitting. Unfortunately, when we pick up the transmission, it's my voice, Commander, from, in a very disrupted communication, the words something SS Iskandar, and it does not appear to match, say, the beacon which we dispatched or any prior communication. It is garbled. I think that there is an exceptionally high risk that there is another vessel which is liable to be aggressive within the vicinity. We've gone to yellow alert. We are monitoring the situation from here. However, my instructions are to move up the transporter plan. Either this other ship maybe does not know we are here. We have difficulty picking it up, and we believe they may have a less sophisticated sensor array, or they are waiting, or they are stuck. If we are to tow the Kruskal, that is going to put us and the Kruskal in an exceptionally vulnerable position should they spring an ambush or strike. As such, I want to move the crew aboard this ship. It will be a much more defensible position if this situation gets more dangerous. Over.
Understood, Captain. Over.
I am going to instruct the transporter team to maintain a lock on the away team in case of some movement. I'm not saying I'm automatically going to pull you away, but I'm going to keep a lock on you, and I will keep you posted if there is any movement. Defending the Kruskal, if they strike, may be exceptionally difficult. But I will keep you posted, Commander. Get me a plan of action, liaise with Linkovich, and tell us how we're going to transport everyone over. Over and out.
Lieutenant Zal, go and speak with the chief engineer and inform them that the repair of the transporters is to be a maximum priority. They're welcome to use any resources that we have at their availability.
Yes, Commander.
Tolander to Lieutenant Casey.
Yes,
Nope.
Commander.
I've just promoted you, you little shit.
I did it.
That's how you get promoted in this
It's just
in
one
this
slip
game.
up.
This is what happens when you call her Talandra.
No
She promotes
take
you.
backs.
No,
Ensign
it's like
Casey here.
it's like in the Mirrorverse, you get promoted by murdering each other. There's another Mirrorverse where it's just slip ups and Freudian slips, and they go, Captain, I'm Captain now. That way, if you
Captain
talk around to your
Casey,
mum, she'd
Admiral
legally become
Casey.
your mother.
The boys have changed names permanently.
Yeah, several times.
Mhm.
It happens all the time. It's a very confusing
They're
universe.
confused
Anyway,
now.
Tolander to Ensign Casey.
Casey here.
We have reason to believe that the ship may come under fire in any period of time, and we have been instructed by the Iskandar to upgrade the plan to the transporters immediately. How soon can you get them online?
Emily, what's my estimate?
You haven't looked at them yet. You've been looking at the patching it up. So you'd have to go and conduct some tests of the Kruskal's transporters, which you are on your way to go do, but you haven't got to the science section to go grab the science boys yet.
I haven't even begun. How long do you need?
Immediately, Ensign. Lieutenant Zal will liaise with you at the transporter room.
Yes, Commander. And he starts running.
Both mics to the transporter room. And Talandra is going to go off at it. I love that Talandra has gone from kind of sedately getting on to like
Just
immediate.
fuck.
This is all my characters can do. She is going to go off in a light
There's
jog
2 speeds.
towards the captain's ready room where she left Captain Squant.
Young.
Young.
Young's a
Young.
word.
Don't
And-
change her name. She's having a bad enough day as it is.
I could just fucking gaslight her into going, yes, Captain Squant. You're
You
Squant. in our
already
timeline."
gaslit her a bit about the whole fucking time problem thing, except
Did
you know,
not.
that's
I told her
actually
the
true.
truth and she was a shithead about it. Anyway, Talandra to Lieutenant Vance.
Vance here.
Our worst fears have been confirmed, Lieutenant. The vessel that attacked the wherever the fuck we are. I can't do names today, apparently.
Kruskal.
The Kruskal
Kruskal.
is indeed hostile, potentially from a parallel dimension similar to ours. We are expecting incoming violence, potentially 2 vessels. Meet me at the captain's ready room immediately.
Understood. I'll bring Commander Graham.
Yeah, you and Commander Graham are probably both going off and doing the same kind of bits of heavy lifting to move things around the Kruskal.
We rally.
Rally.
And Talandra will also send a communication to Dr. Burov to ensure that patients are in a state to be as ready to transport as is feasibly possible.
Cool. Okay, so let's go with Casey then. You'll get to the science section first to go and retrieve your clone, Ensign Kareen.
Ah, not another
Yeah.
Casey
No,
from
no.
a parallel universe. Oh, how expedient! 2 of us. Let's go.
No. You go and find Ensign Kareen, who's been kind of pulling together science data for you, as you had discussed previously.
I'm afraid getting the transporters operational enough to evacuate the ship another priority.
Oh, Oh, right. Okay. That's stepped up quite quickly. What
We have
why
reason.
the urgency?
The forgive me for interrupting. The ships that we have identified are most certainly hostile, and so we need to make sure that time has stopped being a luxury we can afford.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So transporters. Yes. Let's go to the transporter room.
Yes.
Let's see what we can do. He's clearly not quite having. He's not quite panicking, but he's getting there. Right, and you will start going down to the transporter room with him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we thought that it had been a little bit hostile given this situation, but that's surprising that it's suddenly become an issue after two weeks. I don't. Quite.
Unfortunately, due to things such as the dilation of time in this area and the intelligence that we have just received about the nature of the vessels in question, it is not something that we can really risk dallying on.
No, of course. You're walking and talking.
Yeah.
So. Right.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm fine. It's just this is a lot, you know. Just finding out that we've been here for 80 years instead of it being 2 weeks, and now suddenly that the ship might be under attack again, and we've been stuck here for 2 weeks hoping that we wouldn't be attacked again. Now it's just every worst nightmare about this situation coming true, and I'm very sorry, Anson. I'm very sorry. I should have myself together a bit more.
No, I think given the circumstances, it's perfectly understandable that you'd be a bit upset. I'm sorry I can't be much more assistance in terms of support for you other than in aiding in the more scientific endeavours. I've just noticed that your natural affectation of a stammer has seemed to increase, indicating that you are quite nervous.
It gets worse when I'm a bit stressed and well. If this isn't a stressful situation, then I don't know what is.
No, you're quite right. Are there any practices you undertake in order to try and get it a little bit under control? Is there anything I can help guide you through?
To be honest, I think maybe just this distraction and finding something practical I can do, so I'm not just thinking about what might be waiting for me on the outside, who might be left. I mean, it's quite likely that a lot of people that I know are not here anymore. Although I don't know, Vulcans live a long time, and there's a good friend of mine who is a Vulcan. He might still be kicking around. I don't know.
I hope you can find him.
I hope so too.
As we work, you should tell me more
Baron was
about
a good
him.
guy. And it carries on walking with that. Like, he's now feeling a little bit more hopeful with that little bit of reassurance.
Casey stops. He just stops.
Are you all right?
Sorry, I think something of the enormity of the situation just struck me too. But as you've rightly said, we should find something to distract ourselves with.
Yes. It's And he will lead you off towards the transporter room. It's up this way. Up this. Down 2 decks.
Okay. We definitely see, like, a mixture of emotions playing on Casey's face of, I'm sure we'll find someone. Yes, maybe you'll find your Vulcan friend. Oh. Oh, no. Oh,
Were you the
no.
replacement, Sammy?
Oh, no.
Oh God, Varen!
I'm not sorry in the slightest.
Oh, no.
You
I
fucking
lost my
chap.
other science ensign. I guess I'll find another.
Just took 75 years.
Dad had a type.
Yeah, I did.
Dad liked them science twinks.
How many were there?
Who knows? 75 years is a long time.
Go through a lot of twinks in that time.
Go through a lot of you go through twinks really quickly.
Learned a lot about my
Does it-
father that day.
So, is there any further conversation as they go to the transporter room? The two science boys.
Back our Patreon to the highest tier, and Michael and I will write you Commander Varen's Science Twinks fanfiction. Your choice of twink.
Give us
No.
enough money, and you could become the twink.
No.
That's the
No.
highest. That's our new highest tier on Patreon.
It's give us
Space twink.
£1,000 and you are the new twink.
Commander Baron with Y/N.
But only if your name is the name of a science twink. I'm on behalf of the It You Trash crew, I'm officially sorry that I've been allowed to speak on behalf of the It You Trash crew, and I promise to do better in the future.
My jaw hurts. No, there's no more conversation. I don't want to have more conversation with this boy ever again.
This boy was friends with Varen.
Just it couldn't have been better. He just waited until I gave him false hope. Great. Cool. Now I've got that to deal with.
Yeah, you do. So yeah, so literally no other conversation, not even like entirely different distracting conversation of let's talk about transporters.
Like very awkward, like let's start positing theories about the work that we need to do. I'm all about the work that's ahead of us. The world now is the work.
Yep. And yeah, Ensign Corona is going to go along with that, though he's now slightly more worried about you as well, which has kind of replaces his worry about his own future, which is, you know, that. So he's coping much better now.
I'm glad I could help.
There's been no net gain in the amount of cope between the two science ensigns, but yeah, the lack of coping is now distributed at least a little bit more evenly, so it's not just poor Anne Walkerine having to hold all this lack of coping. So,
Cool.
you're also going you're going to go grab Lieutenant Commander Shaterov and go off to the transporter room as well.
Yes.
She's still pretty much exactly where you left her, swearing, basically constantly under her breath in Andorian, and quite colourfully so, about the piece of shit that the recirculation circuit that she's trying to wrestle into shape.
You know, language like that doesn't often even get picked up by the universal translator.
She can pull herself out. Yeah, I know. Comes in real handy sometimes.
We have a situation.
What kind of situation now?
Given
Because
the
I assume it's a new thing rather than this
Mm.
situation.
Yeah, it's a reinvention of the old thing, more like.
Okay.
We just had some intel from the Iskandar that indicates that the ship that has been known to be in the area is most likely hostile, and so we are.
Really?
Hmm. I mean,
I'm shocked.
but with the kind of agenda.
But
that
it's still in the
needs-
area. That actually surprises me.
enough to make our captain make our priority be more along the lines of getting the transporters up and running for the sake of potentially evacuating.
Okay. Okay.
We've
Sure.
been ordered to go down to the transporter room. Well, I've been ordered, and then I was asked to ask you.
Yeah, well, if the priority's getting off this, then this piece of garbage, she'll kick the wall that she stood next to, doesn't have to be made to work. Because it hasn't got to survive any more days. It only has to last another couple of hours, which it will do just fine. Right.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that we might need to abandon her.
Yeah. She's been good. Real good ship, this. But I kind of knew she was on her last legs anyway. I mean, you don't get to keep a ship around when she's had one warp core snapped off and the other's a smoking hulk.
I assure you, if there's anything we can do to salvage her, I've no doubt that we will.
Yeah. Might make a shiny museum piece, I guess. If it's been 80 years, you said.
80, yeah.
Fuck.
I hope you didn't miss any important dates.
It's a lot of anniversaries I've missed.
I'm sure they'll forgive you.
I'm sure my husband's will. My wife, maybe not.
Hmm.
She never did like that I was away. She'll have hated that I'd have been away this long. If she's still about.
I hope she is.
I hope so too. She'll throw something at me briefly, but
What are wives for?
what are wives for? You married?
Yeah.
Get to see much of them given you're in Starfleet?
No. No, and we didn't leave on the best terms.
Oh? No, I shouldn't pry.
It's not prying, but it's complicated. It takes a lot of explaining.
Sure.
When we get out of this, maybe.
Maybe. But first we've got to get out of this. Alright. This left here is probably a better shortcut.
All right.
That way the lighting's fucked, so it'll take a bit longer to find the right door.
And then you lead the way.
And she does. So now you can all be in the transporter room. But we will cut to whatever Talandra's doing next.
She is being blissfully unaware of all the conversations that Mike's characters are involved in. Because if she were involved in one, she'd have collapsed into a heap on the floor. And if she were in the other, she'd have gone, yes, the story does take a long time. Time we do not have!
They can walk and talk at the same time.
No,
they are
if
perfectly capable of multitasking.
If they can talk, then they must not be walking fast enough.
Power walk.
Power walk
They're
everywhere.
Andorians. They can bench press whole conversations.
Zal can, because he's special. This fucking
No,
engineer.
just regular Andorians can bench press whole conversations. Like, Sheriff can't bench press Endersons. Like, she's buff, but she's not that buff. She's not
So,
like Zal buff.
There is some of you maths nerds. I want you to work out some kind of equation that involves bench pressing, Varen, and science ensigns. I want like.
That's also average Andorian physiology, considering that Archer did totally beat up an Andorian.
So from this, conclude how much force
How much does
it
the average science twink weigh using
using the parameters that we've established thus far? How much does the average science twink weigh? Answers in chat or on a postcard.
We deliver
Or a
role
pigeon.
playing and homework.
Yeah. What
It's
fun!
That is the
Entertainment.
true Hit You Trash Crew experience.
Nevertheless, Talandra's just going to burst into the captain's ready room.
Commander Talandra.
Your ship may very well be in continued danger.
It's still here.
The time frame is unknown, but we believe that there may be one, possibly two vessels out there.
Right. Okay. So we need to get out of here.
The current
As quickly as
situation
possible.
involves the crew of my ship fixing your transporters to allow for your crew to be transported back to the Iskandar in the case of an emergency. It is the least safe option, but it is safer than towing.
Yes. Yes, it would be. And one ship is significantly more defensible than two, especially when one is towing the other.
Especially when one is more modern and mobile.
Quite so.
Therefore, I would like your protocols for evacuation, emergency evacuation, what items need to be taken, what documents, where the crew need to manifest themselves, and for you to manifest some sort of alert aboard this vessel.
As to where to get everybody to manifest, I suspect that's rather going to depend on how we're transporting out. Is the intention to use the Iskandar's transporters, or is it to get the Kruskal's transporters up and running?
The intention will be to use the Iskandar's transporters, but Ensign Casey may decide that modifications need to be made in order to make that viable and safe.
Of course. In that case, I suspect gathering everybody in one place is going to be the best thing. Either the shuttle bay you came in at, or cargo bay 2, I think.
All it will mean is coordination of the crew on your part, which I am certain you can do much better and safer than I can.
Of course, yes.
What do you need from us?
I think what we need from you is, well, the actual evacuation plan, whether it is, as you say, via the Iskandar's transporters or using our own, as that does change some elements of the evacuation coordination and any assistance that the crew of the Iskandar can provide, of those of you that are here anyway, to moving anything that needs moving for the evacuation would be very much appreciated.
Assume the Iskandar's transporters unless stated otherwise, but we will need to maintain scans on the nearby area.
Of course, in that case, we will have everybody demeted. Cargo Bay 2, I think, will be a better spot.
If you need the space to download your ship's documents, then I'm certain we can provide the storage in our tricorders. Is that an absolute savage way of going? If you have like some floppy disks or whatever, then I've got my phone.
Yes, I suspect they are probably quite capable of storing most of the documents we'd want. That would be a quicker way of transporting information across. Yes, in that case, if we can have the use of your tricorders, that would be much appreciated.
I believe that the telemetry you have gathered from your transport to this area will be invaluable to future Starfleet exploration.
Quite so.
Are you appropriately well for the circumstances, Captain Young?
Yes, I think so.
I am aware that our arrival has instigated a very trying time for you. I do not want you to think that I am unfeeling to your plight.
No, of course. Well, without wishing to sound rude, I wasn't expecting sympathy or an abundance of sympathy from yourself. I had been a tad brusque with you earlier.
Given the circumstances, I believe brusqueness is not inappropriate.
Very well then, Commander.
Captain? And Talandra's going to storm out at her standard, going at 10 miles an hour, and will relay everything back to the ship so that coordination has occurred.
Yeah, probably will smack into Vance, actually, because you did ask Vance to come up to the captain's ready room as well.
Yes, she did, and she did not forget that.
That's like, Talandra just went through the ship
she
at like
walks,
a million miles an hour.
She walks around and past him and then just begins talking as if he's coming with her. It seems that my theory about parallel dimensional ships was correct, Lieutenant.
Yeah, so possible bad news. In terms of they could be possible bad news.
Yes, indeed.
In that case, if the situation is that there's a possibility that the Iskandar is going to have a scrap on our hands, I think it might be best if I return to the Iskandar. Unless you can think of some way for me to be more use here.
Yes, I think that is almost certainly reasonable, Lieutenant. Communicate with the captain. If she disagrees, then you will remain and report back to me. But otherwise...
That's fine. I don't know what the situation is right now for the best way for me to get back.
Message Lieutenant Linkovich.
All right. I will make my way back one way or another.
Look at Talandra not micromanaging.
This is about to be like, I have no idea. Will I turn into jam if I transport? Space-time jam.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Vance will. He will probably pause and look to Commander Graham. Back at Matt Tactical if this is going to go wrong.
Quite. We more needed back on your own ship too.
Do you have any of your ship's weapon systems or anything working?
We haven't had the power to run the phasers for, well, weeks.
Obviously, don't get under anyone's feet, but it might be worth seeing why you can reallocate. Better than being a sitting duck. Hopefully, we'll be able to just transport everyone over, but that might not be so easy.
I'll have a word with Shadarav and see what she can come up with.
Sure, you know your ship best.
It's whether we keep the shields up or whether it's the phasers, to be honest, because the shields are what we've been holding up as well as life support.
And they'll need to be down if there's a transport going.
That is true. And so that power could probably be rerouted to weapons.
Might at least stop anyone from getting a good old taking their sweet time lining up targeting on you. It's not ideal, but well,
the worst comes to it, we'll at least go down swinging.
Well,
but
try to stay upright swinging.
Well, yeah.
I'll see you on the other side, Commander.
See you on the other side, Lieutenant.
He leaves.
Okay.
And tries to get back to the Iskandar.
Yeah. So yeah, you can call Linkovich. And he's, as Captain Thorne requested, been doing some experiments of just beaming stuff trying to beam stuff back and forth between the Kruskal shuttle bay and the Iskandar.
Where are we at on that, Chief?
Well, last thing that we sent across came back as jam.
Yeah, I don't want to be space-time jam.
No, I don't want you to be space-time jam either, Atticus.
Can you get me from the shuttles transporters?
I could probably get you from the shuttle if you take the shuttle a little further out from the Kruskal.
Yeah, I'm sure I can get someone to
park you halfway, and then
get it back. I'll grab someone. I'll get one of my security officers. They're not exactly doing a great deal right now.
No, I suspect not.
All right, I'd rather be a tactical. Okay, if it's going to
Makes
take leaving
sense.
the ship, it'll take leaving the ship, but I'll make sure the shuttle's still here for the others. Right, I'll keep you posted.
Makes sense. I will let you know if I do not get Space Gem.
That's good. Vance will
And then you hear
communicate
like a
he's-
torrent
yeah.
of Russian swearing as his next experiments come back.
Okay. Vance will relay what he's doing, but the gist is he will get one of his security to
officers to fly him kind of halfway out.
yeah, and then to return the shuttle for the use of the away team.
Yeah, and you can do that, and Sergey will bring you back aboard. Oh, phew! You're not Space Jam. Good. Well, we
yeah,
can at least go halfway.
Real glad I could be a guinea pig for this situation.
No, halfway is good.
All right.
Halfway is good. That is at least an improvement on us not being able to do any transporting at all.
Yeah, but it was from not inside the ship, and now you're going to need to figure out how to transport about 60 people
60 people. Right, okay.
from, I
Whew.
can't remember how many it was, from aboard the Kruskal.
Right, okay. 60 people. I'll make adjustments.
Unless you think it's going to be quicker for us to pile everyone onto shuttles, but that takes time.
It does, but so does fixing transporter. Off he goes again.
We'll report to the
Mantle
bridge.
goes off the
And,
Tarsco.
yeah. And I removed myself from the Kruskal.
Now you can Gollum with yourself.
Go on, then. I want to hear you report to the captain.
Come on. Gollum with yourself.
Thank you, Zephram.
Zephram has obviously heard the ship go to yellow alert or something.
Fine.
Wow.
Vance walks onto the ship, onto the bridge. Captain, has there been any update? Nothing as of yet, Lieutenant. Coordinate with Ensign Tarek. I want us to be able to keep as strong an appraisal of the immediate situation as possible. If this goes awry, we are going to need to be able to protect the Kruskal for as long as possible, which also means, Lieutenant Kantos, you may need to, rather than simply taking the most evasive action possible, if needs be, putting ourselves between them and the Kruskal. There may also be a period where, under fire, we may need to have our shields down for purposes of transporters. Under that situation, you are absolutely to do any and all daring evasive maneuvers possible.
Noted, Captain, although I hope we don't have to do any fancy flying.
That's the first time I think I've ever heard you say that, Lieutenant.
Kanto says nothing, but that's clear. But they smirk and a kind of, you know, I didn't mean that. You know, I only had to say that because of the official.
And yeah, Bridge carries on providing what support we can. Probably, is there much of a grounds of shuttling everyone, or is that just going to take time? I don't think that's something we've ever seriously looked at.
So you can have a look at how long it would take to shuttle everyone across. How many shuttles does the Iskandar have?
I remembered when I was like, we couldn't possibly do that. We technically evacuated the entire ship with our shuttles in Killing Curiosity.
With the shuttles and the yacht. And the
Yeah.
yacht's not going to be much use here. To shuttle everyone onto the yacht. But how many shuttles did we have then? I think it's like 5 or 6.
I mean, an Intrepid class has a crew of approximately 140.
Yeah.
And so we theoretically do have the shuttle capacity if we could evacuate the entirety of the
you do.
The Iskandar. Which is...
What's the capacity of the Bagoas? Because like it's bigger.
Some?
Okay. You've got the specs. I don't have the specs.
I don't. I packed them away somewhere.
It's not an excuse.
And also that doesn't have the yacht thing. I don't think.
No,
much details in the spec about it.
The yacht thing has precious little information existing on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the shuttles aren't huge themselves. They're all of. You could cram a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
But
So
again,
let's say you could cram about. I mean, you took 8 people across.
Yeah, we have established as a thing that we do have enough shuttle capacity to take on like more than twice the number of the Kruskal's people. So
yeah, so like with your shuttles alone, you could pick up the entirety of the Kruskal's crew and bring them back. It would just take the time of sending your shuttles out, loading everyone in and any stuff they were going to bring with them, and bringing them back, and probably a bit of a taxi rank outside of the shuttles waiting to come into the shuttle bay because you couldn't get all 6 in the shuttle bay at once. So, yeah, a bit of time.
All right.
Let's say it's about 20 minutes. Let's say it's about 20 minutes to shuttle across. Loading time, getting everybody back. Let's say about an hour and a half if you wanted to do it on shuttles.
Okay. Athar will start to put plans for that, like ready on like a plan of if we do it, so we can just hit the go word, and then she will essentially send not a hyper urgent message, but a message of she wants an ETA from Linkovich and or Casey on where the fuck are we at with the transporters, because if not, we'll go with shuttles. As time is even more of the essence right
now. So we will cut back to the Kruskal's transporter room as Sergei's still experimenting with trying to send objects, and he's slowly making his way towards not just getting shrapnel and jam. But meanwhile, Zal, Casey, Karen, and Shtarev are all in the transporter room, and probably a miscellaneous Iskandar engineer as well.
And we received that communique on the ETA on the transporters, I presume?
I assume so. I'm going to say you did.
All right. Then let's do some calculations based on the resources that we've got and the progress that we've made on if we can get these up and running more expediently than it would take to shuttle people back and forth.
Okay. Make me an engineering check.
And safely, expediently and safely if we're still at jam.
Linkovich is at jam.
It's only a 2.
Only a 2? Oh dear. No, I'm not going to suddenly introduce an aspect to leverage against you.
You feel free to. It's your game.
No, it is, but I'm going to be nice and not do it. Maybe I should have run with helps and hinders. I could shoot a hinder at you next time. But yes, okay, so you got a 2 there. You reckon you could get the transporter able to transport something in about 30 minutes if you get the power rerouting and you just drop what's left of the Kruskal's shields and put that into transporters.
That's cool.
That will at least make something leave the Kruskal. You'd need to check that it actually got across because you've not done the same kind of tests that Linkovich has been doing at his end. So you reckon with testing, probably some adjustments because you've got a lot of people pulling stuff to transport across. You're probably looking at about an hour and a half. About the same length of time as it would take to do the shuttles, basically.
And the advantage is that if we go for the transporter route, if it works, everyone's just bam on the ship. The disadvantage being that there are going to be considerable amounts of time where the shields are down.
Yes, there will be a considerable amount of time where the shields are down, and given that it's a 2, you still don't think you could actually completely eliminate the potential risks. You reckon you could reduce them, isolate them, control them, but you don't think you could eliminate them. There would still be some residual risk attached to the transporter option. But it is doable.
Okay. Given
So
the
yeah,
time lag,
those are its pros and cons
cool.
that you have there.
He will submit his message in a single burst because of the time lag. Of we've just concluded preliminary testing on the transporters. He doesn't hesitate. I'm just thinking how to phrase it. We can be ready to begin initial testing on the coherency of the transport within half an hour. The downside being that we will be leaving ourselves vulnerable, as it will take depletion of the shielding in order to power the transporters, and it is not without risk. I fully anticipate that we will need to make adjustments based on that initial phase of testing, and while the adjustments can be made expediently as possible, I anticipate there being another hour and a half on top of that, of which we cannot guarantee results, and we will still be in a vulnerable position. Over.
Understood, Ensign. Stand by for further instructions after I consult with the commander.
Yes, Captain. Over.
Athan to Talandra.
Landra here, go ahead.
Just had word from Ensign Casey, which suggests that even with the highest amount of luck, we're looking at least 90 minutes before we could begin transporter operations, and even that, as I said, requires good fortune and does not eliminate possible risk. Does not reduce risk to a comfortable level. I have been looking at options for us to attempt to simply ferry the crew of the Kruskal across on our shuttle capacity, which similarly appears as if it will take 90 minutes. This is a mixed array of options. If the shuttles is the safest basic form of transportation. However, if we are attacked in the meantime, then we are in a scenario of needing to protect shuttles, which at least are more vulnerable than escape pods, retrieve them, and bring them aboard safely. Whereas a transporter option means a protracted period of time conducting multiple transports with our shields down, but it is still a smaller window of danger. I'm inclined towards the shuttle option, Commander, but I would welcome your thoughts on this.
Unfortunately, Captain, it is as you said. The situation is dangerous regardless. Is there any way that we can secure the passage of the shuttles by bringing our shield array closer to them, ferrying them out of the reach of the Kruskal, and then transporting them?
That is possible. However, that would still require the Iskandar shields to be down for a period to transport anyone off the shuttles. I would consider that more of an emergency maneuver. Obviously, if we are attacked during the process, then we are going to have to remain fluid. Having the option to transport from our own shuttles in case of emergency is also what makes me more inclined towards the shuttle plan. We have slightly more options under emergency.
Understood, Captain. There are a number of the crew of the Kruskal ready to maneuver immediately, and we have a shuttle aboard the ship should you wish me to begin ferrying the first number over and another shuttle come to replace me.
Yes, have them all on standby to scramble aboard the shuttles. I will begin the transportation process with the shuttle. I would think that you are going to be at your most use on the bridge. We can trust especially from the bridge, you can supervise the shuttle transportation and liaise it from there. The crew of the Kruskal are going to be in the best position to know their own vessel, its own capacity, and coordinate one another.
Given the complement of crew I am currently in command of, Captain, I am not certain of their chances if the shuttle comes under attack.
There will be obviously our own people, our own pilots and our own co-pilots manning the shuttles for them.
Forgive me, Captain. I think perhaps, given the distortion, I have been misunderstood. I was suggesting sending the shuttle that we already have aboard the Kruskal with the first load of passengers.
Yes, and I was simply suggesting that you're amongst them.
Oh! I follow.
Quite all right. My point is, I'm not entirely sure if there's any much use of you as the away team over there, and if the Iskandar is going to have to be on a battle footing for retrieving vessels, I'd rather that we are at our best.
Understood, Captain.
So recover everyone who you think is non-essential to the Kruskal's evacuation.
Understood, Captain. Talandra out.
Yes.
Gonna go see Captain Young, who I imagine is very busy.
Yep, she is busy doing coordination things for evacuation.
Captain Young, a decision has been made based on the approximate timings of the situation at hand. It has been decided.
What's the decision?
The crew of the Kruskal are to climb aboard the Iskandar's various shuttles that will arrive at the shuttle bay indicated. Once within range of the Iskandar, they will be beamed off the shuttle with the safe Iskandar beams, and shuttles will return back here to collect more members of the crew. It will take approximately 90 minutes to complete this task, which means I would have you assemble crew who are not required for the evacuation in the shuttle bay near our shuttle, and I shall command them when I arrive.
Very well. I will have the crew sorted in a priority order for evacuation.
I shall be returning to the Iskandar to command the shuttle evacuation from the bridge there. Whilst I am gone, Ensign Casey will be in command of the Iskandar's away team as regards the necessary scientific elements, and I would have you keep a ready stream of possible evacuees ready to go. If you have anything that needs to be taken off the ship urgently, your records or objects of importance, send them with me now and I shall take them to the Iskandar.
Very well. I suspect since you're on the Iskandar, you might be able to get some use out of our records. Might at least be able to pick something up during the evacuation process. So if you could take those across, Commander, that would be much appreciated.
Many thanks.
Right.
Talandra takes the breath that she is obliged for any human officer for any obligatory sentimental event. Take this, it was my wife's. Receiving nothing,
receiving nothing.
She pleasantly turns on her heels and returns to the shuttleway. I shall see you shortly, Captain.
I'll see you shortly, Commander.
Talandra to Ensign Casey.
Casey here. Go ahead.
I shall be returning to the USS Iskandar with the first shuttle full of evacuees. Whilst I am away, you command the away mission aboard the Kruskal.
Understood, Commander.
It is expected that a steady stream of evacuees will be returned to the Iskandar, but they will be in touch. I will be in touch with you from the bridge of the Iskandar to coordinate timings. Aside from that, should anything untoward happen, it is at your discretion to decide. You must liaise with Dr. Burov to decide who is most necessary to leave if that decision must come.
I understand. Thank you, Commander. I will look to my ensign friend.
I'm in charge.
Time to go then, I guess.
Indeed. I don't suppose you have a full crew roster, do you?
I don't. Why is he suddenly gone Scottish? I don't, but Captain Young will.
Very well. If you are able to maintain our working here, I need to go and see the captain.
Of course.
And I leave. I get in a shuttle and drive away in a panic. I botched my first command. Nah, I'm off to see Captain Young.
Cool. You go see Captain Young.
And also, I get to be away from that whole situation.
What's wrong with that situation? You've got a new friend. The two Andorians are getting on well. You've never seen Zal getting on with an Andorian in your life before, so this is novel.
That's like the
wrong with
second Andorian I've ever seen, so it's not... Yeah,
Exactly. What is wrong with the situation in the transporter room?
it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's all
Everything's
fine.
fine.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. I want to see Captain Young now.
Oh, you could go see Captain Young. And she's coordinating things from the bridge,
Captain
along
Young.
with Commander Graham. That's the other person on the bridge. Ah, Ensign Casey? Yes? Apologies, I only briefly caught your name earlier. Yes.
No, it's quite all right. As I'm overseeing the evacuation and have now been put in charge of the away mission, I could benefit from having a crew roster and any indications of needs that need to be tailored for in order to, should the worst come to happen, help in the prioritization of evacuation.
Of course, yes. She will bring up a pad and hand it to you with a full crew roster.
Are there any stipulations you would like to make at this juncture as to priorities for evacuation that wouldn't necessarily come up from medical records?
Not at this juncture. I think it's certainly the first shuttles will be those who are still the most injured. And then once any remaining injured and walking wounded from the Kruskal have been sent off in the shuttles, then it will be science personnel, engineering, security, and then any remaining command staff.
And I do forgive me if this is presumptuous, I imagine you'll be on the last shuttle.
I will, yes.
Very good, Captain. I'll see to it.
Thank you, Ensign.
And then I'm off to go see Arcady.
Down to a sick bay.
I think having successfully done their jobs, Arcady is probably just leaning there going, cup of tea.
Yes, sitting with a cup of tea, with like you've come into the Kruskal sick bay and you've been a whirlwind of energy and efficiency. So now you and Dr. Zitak are sitting, having a breather.
You walk in with Arcady's got their knees up on the seat and is sipping from their cup, and then we'll say something like, but it wasn't an Andorian skull freighter, it was 7.
7?
Adina tells it funnier than I do.
Dr. Burrow.
Samuel, come in.
If I may appraise you quickly of the situation.
Of course, yes.
Captain
When last I heard, it was preparing for transporters.
Yes, change of plan.
Okay.
The most expedient route is going to be to get shuttles halfway to the Iskandar and to transport from there in order to make sure that we can make the minimal amount of necessary adjustments for the time dilation and possible side effects thereof.
With adding more steps to a situation, that will always make it less complicated.
Commander Talandra has begun the evacuations as such, has left me in charge of the away mission.
Oh, promotion.
I'm not gloating, I'm merely appraising.
No, I wasn't digging, I was praising.
Oh, thank you.
You were appraising and I was regular praising.
I see.
Be praising, if you will.
I have a crew roster, and I could benefit from your assessment of the sick and injured based on shuttle capacity, a priority order as to who we are evacuating first, who will be on the second shuttle, and so on and so forth.
Of course, Ensign.
Okay.
Very well.
Are you
What is
okay
the
though?
capacity of the shuttles?
No one knows. We tried to discuss it earlier, but it can't be figured out. It's an anomalous number.
Very well. I will roll a d20 to determine how many people are going in each shuttle batch, and we will organise from there.
The
Wonderful,
Vulcan,
thank you.
the Vulcan way.
Too
Very, very reasonable. Might I suggest 2d10 for less variance?
An excellent point, Doctor. Yes, I will switch to 2d10 rather than a single d20.
This might seem random to you, Ensign Casey, but this is actually a very serious Starfleet medical procedure.
I'm very upset.
Are you? You look upset. Are you okay, Samuel? Do you? I know that this is a lot of pressure to receive all at once. Can I help with anything?
The ensign I've been assigned to work with has ended up being a friend of Commander Varen. One of the few friends that he has left to communicate with once he returns to regular time.
Well, that's a matter of speaking. Does Commander Talandra know?
I have not had the capacity to speak with her on any personal matters.
Okie dokie. Which means that if I speak to her next, I might have to tell her. That's a burden on poor Dr. Burov.
I would prefer to be the one to inform her.
Good. Doctor-patient confidentiality, I won't tell her. Oh, heavens, though. That poor boy. Oh, no, how are you feeling? You're a poor boy, too.
Forgive me if this sounds callous, Doctor, but the benefit that I have is that I know what I'm going back to.
Oh, no, that's true. Unless we go back 80 years in the future. Although I suppose your Vulcan mentor is with you at the moment. Oh, this is tragic news. Oh, that poor boy. Oh.
I'm doing what I can to help just keep his mind on the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
You seem quite touched.
Oh, it's just so sad. His mentor, his only friend, died tragically in the Dominion War. And his daughter, his only living relative, aboard the Iskandar now.
I mean, he wasn't his only friend, but that doesn't really count for much anymore. They're all gone.
Oh, well, it's so much better when you put it that way, Ensign Ray of Sunshine.
I just wanted to make sure you were fully appraised of the situation.
I feel fully appraised. Situation appraisal check. Heartbreak inevitable. Go, I'll be fine.
Very well. Thank you. He turns to leave, stops, comes back, takes up the crew roster because he needs that. Thank you, Doctor. And thank you, Doctor.
Oh, no, you're welcome anytime. That's what I'm here for.
I know. And he leaves.
Oh, Doctor. Big tragedy, like a Terran soap opera.
It certainly sounds that way, Doctor.
You didn't know him, did you? The commander?
I knew of a newly promoted Lieutenant Varen, but only by name.
Ah. Oh, well, the Lieutenant Commander Talandra is his daughter. He died in the war. Ensign Casey knew him pretty well.
I see.
Big nexus of tragedy, that man.
So it would seem.
I guess it's sort of moving in a way, how many lives he touched. We should all be so lucky.
Indeed we should.
Anyway, let's get to this roster.
Yes.
You cry over the dead when we've got living to save.
Quite so. It's quite so, Doctor. And you will bustle about organising the patients that you have into a kind of triage of who is the most injured to be. Oh.
Rumba!
Whoa.
Rumba!
Whoa.
Where'd you go?
Hang on. Webcam's just falling
I
off.
am the GM now.
No, you're not. I'm still here.
That's what happens.
gosh.
Quiet, Rumba.
Actually,
Oh
I've
my
been
gosh.
Still here, damn it.
I've been having very serious thoughts about the Type 8 and Type 9 shuttles.
Well, you haven't got any of those because I'm back because my webcam just fell off. That's all.
Actually, it looks to me like you're Commander Talandra and I'm Captain Athan. So here's another thought I've had about Starfleet diplomacy. It needs to have more of me in it.
Mike, did you move things after I fell off visual?
No, you moved yourself.
You moved yourself by falling off visually.
My darling
still
Talandra,
here.
I have been released from a Cardassian prison and I'm on my way to you immediately. We've solved all the time flim-flam and I look forward to seeing.
It's so stressful trying to do this with all the bullshit going on. Fuck.
So in that case, what we will do is, as everybody gets organised for the evacuation of the
break, give Mike more to do.
Yeah. Yeah, as everybody gets organised for the evacuation of the Kruskal and the crew that are on board the Iskandar, wait in readiness for potential hostility, we will call a break.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye. Welcome back, folks. The chat apparently is haunted, based on those hand gestures. Though I didn't see what Mike was mouthing, so maybe it isn't haunted. But maybe it is. Yes, welcome back to part 3 of episode 7 of Star Trek Iskandar. When we left the crew of the Iskandar for our lovely little break, they were organising the evacuation of the USS Kruskal, doing so in quite a hurry because they suspect that there might be an ISS Amundsen still out there, or maybe an ISS Iskandar. Who knows? I don't. So, where do we want to jump in with the evacuation? We left in sickbay with the 2 doctors arranging priority order for getting in the shuttle. Talandra, you're getting back in the shuttle. Are you taking anybody else from the away team away with you?
Any non-essential people.
Okay.
So I imagine the security team, the rest of the
the security team probably don't need to be there anymore. The engineering team probably don't need to be there anymore either, really. We'll leave maybe an engineer and a security officer just so that Casey's not just stuck there by himself, unless you want to just leave Casey there.
He has Dr. Burrow.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's got Dr. Burrow. My bad.
Zal?
Yeah. I'm Zal, yes.
Cool. We'll just leave the named characters over there and we'll take all the NPCs back.
Primarily just because she doesn't want to leave space in the shuttles for more people to have to come back. Like, the more people she can take back now, the better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, cool. So, yeah, we'll just leave Casey, Zal, and Burov on board the Kruskal. Talandra and the various NPCs, including Kingston, can all get back onto the Iskandar.
And we begin the plan of shuttle ferrying will be entirely based and relying upon minor officers to do the actual ferrying. There will be a pilot and there will be a tactical officer as co-pilot for every single shuttle. But Athan wants her bridge crew, except for Casey, on the motherfucking bridge, because if shit goes down, she wants Vance shooting and Cantos flying. And
Talandra has set herself up on a console and is micromanaging the fuck out of the extraction to make it as absolutely optimal as possible, because flying shuttles was the thing she did in the Dominion War, and I imagine she's getting big memories of that right now.
Oh boy, yes she is. She absolutely is.
And Athan probably knows that, given that that was the day Athan and Talandra met.
Yeah.
in fact, Athan is once the process begins, Athan is going to have a general attention all hands call. Attention all hands, this is the captain. At this moment, we are beginning a shuttle-based evacuation of the crew of the USS Kruskal. If everything goes well, this will be a simple process which will take 90 minutes. there is the possibility that we are going to come under fire at this time from an enemy ship, which may look a good deal like our own. I am aware that for many of us, the idea of having to recover Starfleet officers while the ship is under enemy fire is an intensely unpleasant memory. However, this means that I know this is something for which we are ready. This is something for which we are prepared. And we are going to bring every single soul aboard the USS Kruskal back to the Iskandar, and then we are going to bring them back to the Alpha Quadrant. Should we make contact with the enemy, hold to your training, trust your colleagues, and we will endure. Athan out.
Nicely done. So yes, Talandra, you can have also had a copy of the crew roster, so you can also be kind of checking in who's made it across and give you something else to micromanage, really, of who's coming across. More things to do.
She's that person who plays any RTS game and just needs more stuff on the HUD. More stuff on the HUD, increased stuff on the HUD.
You can have all the things on the HUD because you're fairly thoroughly convinced Captain Young by the end of things that no, you really were here to help, and now she just wants out. So she will have happily given you quite a lot of information, and you'll have come back with the records from the Kruskal as well,
which she will have plugged in and have begun downloading.
Yep. Are you going to do anything with those records at the moment, or are you solely focused on the evacuation?
Should we bring them up on the screen and pinging them to the relevant departments as they become relevant? Either archives or tactical or science.
some of it will probably be going to tactical, and Lance will be looking over those, and some of it probably to ops as well.
Yeah, it can be basically she is currently doing a lot, and that seems to be exactly how she set it up.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that was a decent rough Tarek. So Ensign Tarek's going to be taking in some of the ops information from the Kruskal records, and we'll pipe up. Captain, with the information we've got from the Kruskal, I think I've managed to get a better look at what's going on in the center of the bubble.
On screen.
And he'll bring it up on screen. You still can't really see much. It's still very blurry and warped and distorted, but he taps a few things at his console and clears things up a little bit more. And now what you can make out is that there are two distinct shapes in there. One is, it's mostly the size and shape of an Intrepid class. It's not completely the size and shape of an Intrepid class. You'd almost say that it looks like there's a bit that you can't see, whether it's just not there or whether it's just obscured. You can't tell from here. And then further down, there's a very small separate object. So I think that larger object is whichever ship it is that's in there, but the signal is coming from the smaller one.
You think it's something that's being relayed?
Possibly.
The probe. If I knew about the second probe. Bounce ago. Could that be the second probe that Captain Young talked about? She thought that we'd fired 2 probes.
It could be a probe, Lieutenant. Yeah, it's. A little bit larger than some of our probes, but it's...
Very well. Let's keep monitoring the situation. I'm disinclined to have too much of an examination, especially until everyone is aboard.
Given, Captain, what we have come to learn about this alternative timeline for the Federation, is it possible that rather than a probe, it is some sort of hostile entity?
Indeed, possibly some sort of weapons platform.
They have indicated that they are willing to trade deflector capabilities, scanning, and engine capacity for weapons and shielding. Perhaps they have similarly modified their probes.
It would make sense considering they believe that something struck the Kruskal first, whether or not it was the Amundsen. All this, if we send a scientific probe first, they send some sort of, essentially something akin to a mine. I'm prepared for us to not find out for the moment. Monitor the situation, Ensign Tarek.
Will do, Captain.
That is another shuttle safely returned, Captain.
Very good.
So yes, from the bridge you can continue coordinating the evacuation, and it is the most injured parties that members of the crew that come on board the Iskandar first. Dr. Burrow, do you go with them, or do you stay on the Kruskal until all of the injured crew members are across?
I'm going to help with the evacuation.
But once all the injured folk are off, do you go with them, or are you staying until the very end?
That depends on whether the doctor goes.
The doctor will be going with his patients.
Then Dr. Burrow will come with. But not before going to wherever Ensign Casey isn't going. That's the last of the medical evacuees. I was going to go with the doctor to set them up in sickbay. Do you need me to stay?
You need to stay.
Okay.
We cannot assume that we will not get injured on this ship.
No, of course not. I never thought about that. Of course. Just a moment. I will give some instructions and then I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Doctor?
Doctor.
Hand this to, when you arrive, Dr. Light will already be activated. Just hand this to him. He'll know what to do. Do not be alarmed. He is the ongoing medical hologram that I told you about. It's very advanced.
Yes, I do recall.
I'm sure you will be as welcome there as you have been here. And you are welcome to avail yourself to my office if you need time to coordinate your people.
Thank you kindly, Doctor. And I look forward to seeing your sickbay.
When I get back, I look forward to showing you everything there is to show you. You will be delighted, I think.
I'm sure I will be. I'm very keen to see what advancements have been made over the last 8 decades. And I look forward to you explaining to me what it is that I have missed by way of medical advancement.
Well, given that I have only been studying medicine for under a decade, I am sure you will learn far quicker than I did. So I look forward to seeing the doctor that you will become in a few weeks.
I shall see you aboard the Iskandar, Doctor.
Live long and prosper.
And to you. And he will get on board the shuttle and leave.
I imagine for the sake of drama, and of course it kind of makes sense too, that the last shuttle to leave will be populated with the named characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be.
Like, I think Arcady is going to go to sickbay, like, log themselves up with a bunch of the stuff that's in sickbay in a way that would be completely impractical and wasteful for an actual starship. But since we're not coming back to this ship, Arcady will be like, I'll take extras, I'll take spares, I'll carry 2 bags. It's okay, I'm not doing anything here. And will probably stay with Zal, given that, like, being under Casey's feet will be awkward for Casey, but I think Zal and Borov basically on one side going, "We are here. We are your lifted or heal it squad."
I imagine they will be very quickly put to some kind of work, because there's a lot of people that need a lot of instruction as to where to go and when they can be expected to be evacuated. I know Starfleet personnel tend to be quite, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to be here, and I will wait for the next thing to be told to me. But given the circumstances, and doubtlessly there's rumours going around about what it is, I imagine there might also be some concern and upset.
There's definitely some concern. The news of what exactly it is that has happened, and the length of time that is missed, that the Kruskal has missed, it has spread through the remaining crew members like wildfire.
It is worth noting that I think Dr. Burov will have given immediate instructions that, especially the sick, but as many people as is possible, be quarantined in the cargo bays where they're being kept, or the sick bay where they're being kept.
Yep.
And not lied to, but just not given license to like roam about. I mean, I know that the captain will have probably confined them to a deck, but Borov's doing more of a kind of, we need to check these people over. Please don't
let them wander off.
And like, we'll have informed the sick bay staff of the situation, so they don't just come in and go, "What do you mean you don't know this? This is a standard procedure. Don't blah blah." And Arcady is going to be adopting the more anxious people on the Kruskal, being like, "No, it's fine. Come on, you've got this. We're just going to get off the ship. It's just a little evacuation."
Yep, no worries.
Nothing scary about an evacuation. You're going to a safer place, not a less safe place.
That's true. Yeah, they can herd various sad, nervous, anxious crew members of varying ranks. They're not all sad ensigns. There's sad everybody on this ship.
Oh yeah, Kareem's coming with us, right?
Oh yeah, Kareem kind of doesn't want to go too far from Casey, really.
Named character. He's coming on the last one.
Got that big main character around you.
But no, he also has a good reason to
keep moving
on the last shuttle, because he's making sure that
he has nothing to live for. Oh.
Shut up, Izzy.
Chief
Spoilers.
Science Officer.
He's chief science officer, and he's trying to make sure that everything is... Yeah, this was a science vessel. So whilst the various researches that it's been doing are probably wildly out of date, he still feels it's a kind of... In fact, no, we'll roleplay through this one. So yes, Ensign Kareen is going to be down in the science section of the ship. At this point, kind of, you're getting towards the last couple of shuttles, the last two, let's say.
And
like
how long have we
third,
got?
Probably at this point about 15-20 minutes until you're on to the last one.
I'll head on down in that case to just check.
You're kind of, at this point, it's very much kind of mopping up stragglers, and then it'll be the last shuttle with named characters on it.
I'll do the door beep, and then when I am hopefully let in.
Yes, you are.
Ensign Kareem, 20 minutes until departure.
20 minutes, right, understood. Oh, better hurry up with this then. No, he's still kind of busy loading.
Have you got everything you need?
Nearly everything. I'm just trying to get the last few records of our researches onto something a bit more portable.
Very good.
Although I don't suppose there'd be much point, really. I imagine all of this works out of date.
Forgive me, I don't understand.
Well, it's been 80 years. Somebody's probably picked up where we left off, and made far more advances than we did.
Quite possibly, Ensign, but I've come to learn in my time that the pursuit of the answer is just as enriching as the answer itself. You might not have discoveries in your backlog of data that are new to Starfleet currently, but similarly there might be things in there which shine a new light and a new angle from your own personal observations that could not have been had by anyone else. And on top of this, your unique circumstance right now, and I know the situation is bleak, but once you are through with this, you will be amongst the foremost scientific minds to really go into and explore the nature of this anomaly.
That's a good point.
My old mentor told me that there are always new pursuits. Always something new to find. And it doesn't matter if you're beaten to the punch. Science isn't going to go anywhere.
Sounds like a wise man, your mentor.
He was. Very wise indeed.
What was? Oh, he no longer around.
I'm afraid not.
My condolences.
Thank you. That means a lot. "20 minutes until departure.
Of course.
See you soon."
See you soon. And he resumes packing up his remaining belongings and his
There's a
remaining
real
research.
hesitance at the door. Like, you see Casey, he puts his hand on the panel to open it, and there's that moment where he's just frozen, just very slightly looks over his shoulder, clearly in a battle of, do I say more? And then the hand comes down to tap the roster and the list, and he just returns to duty.
Don't tell him. Very well. Another 15 minutes or so pass. And almost everybody is now down at the shuttle bay. Dr. Burhov, Zal, Shtarev, Kareem. Pretty much
Graham?
everybody. Sorry?
Graham?
No, yes, Graham. I forgot she was still on it. Yes, Graham. She's back down at the shuttle bay as well. The only two people who are still on the Kruskal and aren't down at the shuttle bay right now are Ensign Casey and Captain Young, who is still on the bridge.
That's very bad news. I don't like that.
Why is that bad news?
Yeah, it's pretty bad news.
That's bad
Definitely
news.
bad news.
That's bad news.
Believe you guys.
You know what captains are like. Can't trust them.
Either she's on the bridge or she's looking at mementos in her ready room. Either way, it's bad.
You have little faith in my NPCs.
Where am I?
I don't know. Where are you? You're on the Kruskal arranging the last few stragglers. You can be wherever you like.
Well, if I go in and I do a head count and the captain's not there, it's off to the bridge for me.
Okay, off you go to the bridge to go and pick up Captain Young.
He will enter because he's got the swagger of someone that's now in charge of a mission. Captain Young, we're ready for departure.
I see. And she takes a look around her bridge as she's sat in the captain's chair. And you can see that she's taking in what there is here of her ship, her bridge, her command post. I didn't think this would be the way this ended.
What did you envision, Captain?
I envisioned my captaincy aboard the Kruskal ending on a far happier note than leaving it abandoned, adrift in space. I'd thought we would complete our 5-year mission. Maybe I stay out another mission or 2 on board her. And then onwards and upwards to the Admiralty. Leaving behind a ship of happy memories. And a crew and a ship that still thrived. Rather than leaving behind this wreckage.
I can't pretend, Captain, to know the weight of this. And I'm sure I could give you all manner of assurances on what might await you and your future and other more dreadful ways that ships can be lost or taken out of service.
But I don't think you could give me the former. The assurances, because I don't think even you know what's out there in the rest of the galaxy and what's happened to my people in the last 8 decades. And I think we both know the latter wouldn't help.
No, Captain.
And she pauses to wipe a couple of tears from her eyes. Stands up from her captain's chair and adjusts her uniform. Time to leave. After you, Anson.
Of course, Captain. And I'll start leading her to the shuttle bay.
As you're leaving the bridge, she pauses in the doorway. One last look at her bridge. Turns off the lights. And leaves. And she follows Casey down to the shuttle.
All here, all present.
Very well.
Start loading up.
Yep.
Are you sure that's everything, Captain?
That's all the crew. And I trust my science officers and engineers to have done their duty thoroughly in ensuring that anything that needed to be taken from the Kruskal has been. We are ready to depart.
Once we're all kind of settled in, whoever is our designated pilot is in the pilot's chair.
Nobody.
Some idiot. Some nerd. Some doof. Well...
Some doof who at least rolled a positive on their pilot check that I just did.
You gotta encourage them with hostility. It's the only way they'll do it. That's why Kantos is the way Kantos is. We don't berate
It is
Kantos
why they're
enough.
liked.
We're not hostile to Kantos.
I know, and look, crashes all the time.
Walked away from it, weren't a crash. And
Once we are ready, atop the comm
Yes,
badge.
I think you'll find that they walked away from it, therefore it wasn't a crash. Let's not talk about crashing right now.
My beep, my badge, unsure how to respond to that, as I've clearly said that canonically now, and I don't know why I would.
No, GM overrule, that wasn't canonical. That didn't happen.
Markety detects when people decide to go off out of character for too long and gets them back into the plot. It's their superpower.
It is. No, we're on the shuttle. And
Beep
Captain
on
Young.
the comm badge. Ensign Casey to the Iskandar. Final shuttle ready to depart. See you soon.
Safe travels, Ensign. We'll speak to you soon. Iskandar out.
Here we go. Make it safely back to the Iskandar.
Updates, Ensign Tarek?
No further updates. The probe seems to have drifted. It doesn't look like it's moved under its own steam. It's
That's fine. Good.
and the ship. Hang on, let me just. He'll sharpen the picture up just a little bit, but it's still. Again, either there's only the half ship, or you can only see half a ship. It is unclear whether that's because it's obscured or not.
That's fine, so long as they're not moving.
Not a peep, Captain.
This is a rescue mission, not an exploratory mission, so far as I'm concerned right now.
The last shuttle moves across from what's left of the Kruskal and makes it safely aboard the Iskandar.
I would like to go on record as saying I don't trust a single fucking thing Roomba's doing right now. This has been entirely too easy, and I don't trust it.
I can't believe you, Izzy.
Yes, you can.
Return
Maybe
to
many years.
Kantos. Coordinate with Ensign Kingston to make sure that we are withdrawing from the anomaly safely. Ensign Tarek.
Hi, Captain.
Lieutenant Vance, continue to scan. At the very least, we will leave the situation with more information. But let's get out of here with our rescued people and not put them in any danger unduly. I think they've earned a break from any exploration for the moment. I'm not fucking going near those things. I'm sorry, GM.
Fine. Fine. Yeah, so you'll still be so Tarek will call to Kingston and establishes that it's going to be another couple of minutes before the shields are up enough that engineering would be happy taking the Iskandar back out. And Tarek will also be performing a few scans with Lieutenant Vance's assistance. Vance, make me an ops check for some more scans of the ship and the probe.
That is a 3.
Nice. Yeah, you're now able to get a bit more information from it. It's going to require a little bit of processing, but with this, and now that you've got Ensign Casey back aboard, who's able to reverse engineer things from what he did previously with the distress call, given a couple of minutes, you'll be able to, the two of you combined even, will be able to decode the information that you've got. But while you're doing that, Kingston will ping up to Athan. Shut up, let me do this. Kingston to Captain Athan.
Go ahead, Hanson.
It looks like shields are going to be up and operational, or at least close enough to get us out.
Very good. Begin the process. Let's return to real space.
Aye, Captain. Aye, Captain, says Lieutenant Cantos. And they will slowly and steadily turn the Iskandar around, bringing up the warp, spinning the warp field up again, and will take you back towards the surface of the anomaly. Again, the ship creaks and groans and shakes. Again, you hear alarms starting to go off. The creaking of the hull is, if anything, louder and more insistent this time as you slowly make your way out. But the ship does make it out. As you make it out of the bubble, as real space resolves in front of you, the stars come back to being single clear points of light in the sky in front of you rather than a distorted rippling mass. There are two things that happen. One is with Ensign Casey's station. The processing of the last bits of information that you got from the Kruskal, from the objects at the center of the anomaly, have resolved themselves. And the other is a sudden blaring of computer alarms as the ship's computers are suddenly throwing out all kinds of errors.
Errors?
Errors?
Oh no.
Ensign, what the hell is going on?
I'm trying to isolate, Captain. I need to get to the core of whatever is causing this.
What's causing things to go?
I think given the current situation, without hesitation, Talandra streaks across the bridge and is helping Ensign Casey.
Cool.
Because she has been on a nerve the entire time.
Now this thing going.
That's horrible. Never do that again. It does. My speakers do not agree with it. Never do it again.
I didn't think they would, so I did it. Okay, so one of you make me an ops check and one of you make me a science check.
I'll take science.
I think that was the way around it was gonna go for some reason.
Oh, why did I close my character sheet? That was foolish.
What's wrong with you?
Wait, I know it's +5. What am I doing?
I don't know why you even questioned that.
My dice are very kind to me.
Have you? Is the answer many lots?
The answer's 8.
That's many lots.
Oh, I'm just sitting on a lowly 5.
Oh dear, is that all? Well, guess you all die. No, you don't all die. You can very easily work out what it is that's happened with the computer systems. So as you've gone into the bubble with the warp field, you'd set things up with into the gravitational anomaly. You'd set things up with the warp field such that an hour in there would be around 3 hours outside. Hey, Mike, you remember that critical fail you had?
No.
What time have we lost?
Remember, I've got a session to run. I've put timelines in place for it.
Oh shit! I care not for your timelines, Izzy, and nor does my plot. You spent by your time about 5-6 hours inside the bubble, let's say. About that. In the outside world, it's not been on the order of about a day, is what you would have expected it to be.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost 2 months.
Oh, we're so presumed dead.
Okay.
We're totally presumed dead.
And whilst you'd prep the computers for the jump back and the little time shift that you're expecting of a few hours, you hadn't had everything prepped up for 40 days, 50 days.
I think Talandra and Casey have entirely different reactions to this, which is Casey having a gentle freak out and Talandra's face of like, oh, I thought something had gone wrong. See, Ensign, there were some incorrect calculations. Let me adjust.
I was wrong.
Status report?
Captain, apparently we have lost not a day as was previously estimated, but approximately 2 months.
2?
I got it wrong.
That is not as wrong as that could have been, Ensign. I think under the circumstances we'll take that. Can we have a quick scan and make sure that the beacon that we dropped is still there?
Yeah, it is.
Good.
It's still there. It's still giving off the signal that it was supposed to give off after a day.
Oh, that is fine. What's the situation with the anomaly?
So, the situation with the anomaly, and Tarek will put on main screen the visual that he picked up. And now that it's been cleared up, you can see that it really was half a ship. That's not an entire Intrepid class, that's a chunk of one. And you can see across the front of it, it has the yellow insignia of the Terran Empire. And most of the name, ISS Amundsen.
Dare say that they fell foul of the anomaly, possibly in a fight with the Kruskal.
I'd say the damage looks a bit too extensive to be battle damage, Captain.
Cleaved in half by something in the anomaly, gravitational pull.
Perhaps.
Maybe their navigational deflectors are less sophisticated than ours.
But I certainly doubt the Kruskal could have torn an Intrepid class in half.
Quite. It's not.
We've also managed to clear up the probe signal, Captain.
Play it.
I've sent you a script, Kath.
Thank you. Okay, because I was like, I've not recorded anything.
No, you haven't.
This is Captain Nadari Athan of the ISS Iskandar. ISS Amundsen, please respond. We are unable to establish any form of stable communication through the wormhole. Transmissions are going to continue. We have no wish to turn off the transponder before we've learned whether the mission has been a success or a failure. However, if we receive no response to this, then we shall assume the worst, and the Amundsen will be reported as missing, presumed dead.
And we will end there. And do epilogues, etc. As the Iskandar picks up what's happened over the last 2 months, works out what to do with the ship, with the crew of the USS Kruskal that they've now rescued, and what to do with the information that they've just received about the ISS Amundsen and the ISS Iskandar.
Mother.
My jimmies are rustled.
Deeply.
Good.
Wormhole, neat.
Cool.
Let's pull
I imagine
that this motherfucker.
I imagine though, epilogue-wise, I have only a question, which is, have we been missing presumed dead?
Guess we find out next week.
You find out next week, fuckos. We're not doing epilogues now.
Oh, I'm doing a whole session of epilogues?
We can easily fill a whole session with epilogues.
Yeah, of course we can.
Like it's 11:30. It might not stretch to a full 3-hour session. It might be a slightly short one, but like it's also not going to take half an hour.
No, we got some trubs to figure out.
You have
Oh,
some jobs
God.
to figure out. You have a sad crew to bring back up to speed.
Oh God. Hey, this is the most I've aged without it causing any long-term damage to my cellular structure.
Technically, you've not, though.
Oh.
So, strangely enough, this is the session that we've all walked away from where actually we weren't all horribly traumatized. Like, it's an embuggerance. Talandra will have to rejig her birthdays calendar for the crew of the ship, but like, no one's come away from this horrendously and permanently scarred for life.
She won't. Their birthdays are still the same. They're still
Yeah,
going to
but
celebrate their birthdays
But
on.
they've happened.
Oh yeah, then we've
Means
had
my
like two.
timeline for when we celebrate crew birthdays has changed. I don't think you appreciate the severity of the situation, Captain. People aren't going to be expected to share, and then people are going to fatigue on cake. I have a matrix. I have a system.
We're going to just
crew
have to have
birthdays.
one big party for all birthdays over the last 2 months.
Meanwhile, the Kruskal have got 80 years.
Wasn't this an
birthdays to
episode of
catch
The
up.
Office?
Yes, and that is for their first officer to manage. Someone with a subpar birthdays matrix.
How dare
Definitely an
you.
episode in The Office, and to be fair, the idea of having one giant party did not end well in that either.
Talandra won't do that. She's not a monster. I know there's this joke that Vulcans have no feelings, but she's not a sociopath. She knows you can't share a birthday with someone. Even people that actually share birthdays, she gives them separate parties. Yeah, you don't know anything about crew birthdays. Jesus Christ. Outraged. Call yourself a captain. Talk to you about authority.
Excuse me, I'm just the right level of emotionally repressed to be a captain.
Oh, I. Go away.
And besides, like next week, you've got to deal with that sad boy and tell him that Varen's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Why have I got to be the one to tell them that Varen's dead?
That was a
Casey's job.
general you.
Yeah, one of Mike or Izzy, you've got to tell him that, you know.
Just because my father doesn't mean I have to tell him he's dead. I don't
No.
tell everyone I
Rob.
know my father's dead. He's Casey's friend.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is my
but
friend.
Burrow knows, and Burrow's a people person, unlike this fucker over here.
Burov
I'm
has
not
very
leaving this to
soundly
Burov.
ejected responsibility.
No,
for this.
Borov's going to go around and collect the list of everyone's beloved mentors and then stand there and go, I regret to inform you that the following people are deceased.
And then
Please
read the
come to
list
me,
for
or
like
Lieutenant
20
Cantos,
minutes.
or Lieutenant Zal, for your appropriate hugging. We are deeply sorry for your loss. Aaron A. Aronson.
Somebody at the back of the you've got this kind of crowd of 60, 70 people, and someone at the back goes, no!
Not Aaron.
Yes, but to be fair, he was 87 when you went missing, so I'm not certain what you were expecting.
What? You hear like an indignant Casey. Why didn't you expect that?
No, and then Lieutenant Varen of the USS Cousteau. 4 twinks start crying. And they're all like, how many were there?
I don't feel special. He told me I was the greatest mind of my generation.
You are of that generation.
Yeah, of your generation.
I think you'll find, Ensign, I was very accurate with my words.
You like some smart and young?
There's an outrage. No, what I've realised is just to rescue my father's reputation somewhat. I think it's more that smart young science ensigns gravitate to him.
Victim blamer.
Accuse me of that.
He clearly cared about them. He died for the last twink.
He did. You were his
did.
favourite. He died for you. He didn't die for the others.
He died for you. Like
That's how I'm going to tell
He
Kareem.
trapped the others in a wormhole for 8 years. Oh, what? No.
Oh,
Now
oh,
you've got to.
oh.
Now you've got to fight.
Ensign fight. Ensign fight. Twink fight. Twink fight. Twink fight.
Love me.
I do love
Has
you,
your
Kat.
ear recovered from when he bit your ear earlier?
No, he clawed it.
Okay. Has your ear recovered from when he clawed your ear earlier?
I mean, it's not bleeding anymore.
Good
That
to know.
Have you recovered from when he mauled your face? No, he mauled it a little.
It was you. Woo.
Claw literally got stuck in my ear for a moment. It was not good. It's fine. It doesn't even hurt anymore. Like, I've been wearing headphones all evening and it's not agitated it.
Yeah, because it's holding in the remnants of your ear.
Like your whole brain's being pinned in by this headset.
That's a teacup, Cat. You don't want it.
You don't know what he wants.
Is he?
He doesn't know what he wants.
Is he?
He
I
knows
don't
very
wanna
well what he
question you.
wants. He wants to put his nose in it and decide he doesn't want it. It's all
But
part
He
of
wants
his
to dip
master
his
plan.
paw and lick the Okay.
My
the
sweet
fuck?
creature. Are we doing an outro?
Yeah, of course we are. I was just
Yeah.
distracted by the cat, and Kath insisted that
Cat.
we talk about it.
Cat's been
Kat
used.
did insist. It was really rude.
But
That's so rude. Anyway,
beloved chat,
I thought you were
beloved
done.
trash fans. Oh no, I'm gonna hand over to you in a sec. Don't worry. Beloved chat, beloved trash fans. I hope you enjoyed
I'll be handed it.
part 3 of episode 7, and join us next week when we will go through the remaining trauma now that we're safely away from potentially being shot by our Mirrorverse clones. So I'll hand over to Izzy.
I call shenanigans on that threat. We didn't even see our Mirrorverse clones. I want Mirrorverse clones to come and try and kill us. I was promised murder by clones.
We were specifically
Remember
not.
Remember the discussion we had in the break about this being a starter?
Yeah?
That
just-
tea sip.
Yeah.
Just
Fucking
finish my
gremlin.
fucking
Piece of
salad.
me. I don't want 2 marshmallows later. I want 1 marshmallow now. Give me my fuck damn marshmallow. Future planning is for other people, other losers who aren't me. Speaking of those people, let's give thanks to members of the Trash Patreon who sign up to our Patreon only to be abused by me, Praxis Descends. Remember that at the end of the adventure, I will of course be making up hilarious facts about anyone who has subscribed to our Patreon. These will, or may be mean, but will probably be mean. Other than that, I guess go over to the Facebook meme page to vote on who you want to see Casey get embarrassed in front of. Because that's a thing I promised.
Everyone.
That's a thing younger Izzy promised. She was stupid then, foolish, and slapdash with her time and Michael's. So you're welcome, both Michael and Izzy and everyone. But aside from that, you're especially welcome to these following very dramatic people. Eligos Alexander, Liz Murphy, Michael Kreese, Caffeine Kitty, Andre Cherepnin, Lucas Justinian, Joe, Joanna Marsh, Diego de los Reyes, Dr. Lou Sutcliffe, Araloki, Socky, Red Fox, Henry Prestige, Mike McKay, Kill, Braun, Amy C., James Malloy, Mike Fielding, Mike Bowman, and of course, everybody's favourite enigmatically named member of the Trash Fam, Helena Handbasket. And aside from that, aside from many trash bags in the chat, lovely and beloved people, this has been the crew of the USS Iskandar. Don't forget, if you are not jonesed out on Iskandar, there will be a special one-shot, which will be run out of line of this plot here, but it will have an impact on the broader Iskandar canon. So if you are excited to see that, or if you have a friend that's thinking of trying it, why not watch that? Because it won't mean anything to... No, it will mean something. It will mean something to people, but it won't be plot. I know what I mean. Anyway, tune in this Sunday.
You said that you'd name it.
I'm about to! Will you let me finish? For fuck's sake, Kilburn!
Oh, you get my name right now.
The people
Yeah,
who
we're
asked
dragging
that
you.
might be embarrassed in front of the audience, you're welcome. He's gone bright pink, and I shall continue to be mean to him. Look at you! What a rube! Anyway, if you are excited to see the one shot of the USS Iskandar, which will be starring...
I am.
I can't tell I'm pointing. Starring our very own Kath, as well as 2 non-regulars on the Iskandar shenanigans, then tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. BST. Are we in BST or GMT?
Yeah, we're in BST.
Bullshit time. 5 p.m.
It's always bullshit time.
For Iskandar, Trouble and Strife.
I like it. It was worth the wait.